Let's see here. Give me just a minute, y'all, while I get set up for all this. Almost ready. Why does it keep doing that stupid phone? Okay. Alrighty. Well. Okay. Alright, folks. Now we just wait for people to come in and we'll be ready to go here. Let me just get my microphone where I can actually be heard. And we'll be ready to start the festivities, so to speak. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Really? Hi, Blaze. How's it going? Just move my mug up here and get my phone out of the way. I'm not going to need that for a while. And get my Coke right here. Hi, Nicholas. How's it going, sir? I'm feeling a tad bit under the weather, but I didn't want to put anybody out, so I am live tonight. I thought about skipping out, but I decided to go ahead and be here. 8th is up in Dallas with his friends attending a concert, so you won't be seeing any of 8th tonight. So we're just waiting the usual 7 minutes for everyone to 7 minutes to go. We're waiting until the top of the hour to get things going, to give everybody time to show up and get situated. Hopefully there's no other big events going on tonight that's going to detract from people showing up. I've had bad luck with that lately. We'll see, I guess. Five minutes to go, and nobody is showing up. This is not a positive sign. We're not getting viewers. I mean, y'all are still aware that short of me having to work for the boss, having to be called in on the weekends, that, or if I'm sick, that it's Saturday, right? Y'all still remember that, right? Thoughts on GTA being delayed again? I suspected it would be the case. Because their new releases are always delayed from when they're initially announced. Happens every time. It's nothing new. Nothing new. I am here. As soon as I see your notification, I make sure to be here. Okay. All right. At least I have one loyal fan who shows up on time. I have one. One is enough. 4 minutes to go and we'll get going. We'll get going. Hoo-ah. I keep looking at those shelves behind me and I think, gee, I want those shelves to be more full. But of course, that can't happen until sometime after December, because when I go to, I'll be going to Retro Palooza to pay my respects to Billy, and then I'll be free. But until then, got to pay for that. Got to pay for the travel expenses, and then I'll have a little bit of money to try to spend on some retro games. Not going to be buying anything new. And we'll go from there. I saw something that I wanted to get 8th for Christmas, but I didn't have the money to do it. McFarlane Toys has a Dwight Schrute action figure that's on sale for $29.99, and I wanted to get it for him for Christmas because 8th is a big fan of Dwight Schrute from The Office. More specifically, a big fan of the banter between him and the Jim character. And so I thought that'd be a great Christmas gift for him, but I didn't have the $30 to put towards it because I'm saving for this thing. So, what did I think of what the hell is N7 Day? Thoughts on the campaign for Battlefield 6? I don't have many thoughts about it, Nicholas, because I haven't played it. I haven't played it because I don't have the money to buy any games because I'm saving up to go to Retropalooza in a couple of weeks to, for Billy's memorial. Mass Effect Day. Never heard of it. Played the video game, but didn't know there was a Mass Effect Day out there. Was yesterday. Well, I wasn't worrying about that yesterday. Let's put it that way. I wasn't worrying about that yesterday. I worked my job, and then when I was done for the day, I basically sat there and watched reruns of Oz until I fell asleep. Mario Brothers 2 or 3? For me, 2. Because for me, Mario Brothers 3 is just Super Mario World with less pretty graphics. There, I said it. I said it. I said it, and I don't regret it. Do you think Microsoft could stop making Xbox consoles just like Sega? Oh, absolutely. Because let me tell you something, Nicholas. The next Xbox console is not really going to be an Xbox console. It's going to be just like the handheld that just came out. It's going to be an Xbox licensed product by a third-party manufacturer. Just like the ROG Ally that just came out. That's the Xbox ROG Ally. Yeah. It's going to be just like that. And it's just going to be an Xbox branded PC that possibly has an alternate front end that it boots to. that will be Xbox branded, and you can dump out of it anytime you want to Windows 11. That's what it'll be. You just watch. Anyway, it's Saturday. It's 6 o'clock, November 8th, 2025, and this is the 7thCast. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th is up in Dallas attending a concert with his friends. So it's just you and I tonight. So, yesterday, one of the things that I did, aside from watching Oz reruns, is I watched Del Toro's new Frankenstein interpretation on Netflix. And as always, I found it visually stunning. The movie is an absolute feast for the eyes. The cinematography is fantastic. The sets look amazing. The lighting was great. The editing was very well done. Tasteful use of CG. I could tell that, practical was used in every possible way. They avoided slavering the screen with CG as much as they could. Nevertheless, while I enjoyed it, when I get a hankering for watching Frankenstein, this is not the version that I will be watching. Because, yes, every version has taken liberties with the story. This one takes a lot of liberties with the story. As in, adding additional characters, taking away other characters, changing the core values of some characters and their destinies, changing the meanings and the reasonings and the themings for several things, and taking it from having a sad ending to having a happy ending, at least for one character. And I just don't know how I feel about that. I don't really like that. I mean, it's the same kind of thing that Del Toro has done before. In that, let's just take, for example, The Shape of Water, where he took the bare bones of the creature of the Black Lagoon and changed it into some weird, furry feeling love story between the fish man and a woman. Well, I'm not going to go into heavy spoiler territory in case y'all haven't watched the movie yet, but there is a subplot in the movie where Frankenstein's love interest, Elizabeth, develops a sort of crush on the monster the first time she sees it, instead of being bloody terrified of it. And Elizabeth is not Frankenstein's childhood friend who he fell in love with and made into his wife. No, his little brother, who died as a child in the novel, is a grown man, and she is his fiancé, whose uncle is the financier of Frankenstein's experiments. And the reason that he's funding Frankenstein to have these experiments is because he's dying of syphilis, and he wants to have his brain put in the monster, but doesn't tell Frankenstein until the day of. Just weird changes like that just adds all this additional melodrama when the story already had so much melodrama as it is. So while I had a good time watching it, it was a little bit slow. Pacing-wise, it's very similar to his previous film, Crimson Peak. And speaking of Crimson Peak, several of the movie sets for Frankenstein look like they just took some of the sets from Crimson Peak and redressed them. Literally. So I don't know if I can't imagine that's what happened, because, studios tear down sets after they finish a film. But that's sure what it looked like. And I went and double checked. It's not the same set director or set designer on this film as Crimson Peak. So, but yeah, I mean, when Frankenstein walks into the lobby of his tower, it looks like the foyer of the mansion in Crimson Peak, and some of the other sets look like sets from Crimson Peak. It's weird, but when I get a hankering for watching a Frankenstein film, uh, I will watch the Robert De Niro Frankenstein film from 1994 because it has a better musical score, uh, and they don't lose sight of the fact that yes, Frankenstein's obsession and madness made him into the core villain of the story, but the monster still becomes a villain in and of himself. And in this movie, he's just a misunderstood protagonist, shall we say. So it's just Del Toro doing what Del Toro does. He can't, for some reason, he can't do horror for the sake of horror. There's always got to be some kind of sentimental side. You know, he wants you to love the villain and to sympathize with the villain and blah blah blah. And so in this case in point, he actually made Frankenstein into a bigger a-hole than he was in the actual book, so that you would care more about what happens to the monster. And yes, it's fine for a work that old, that's already been adapted that many times, to have different interpretations. But there's just some things about stories that you shouldn't mess with. And I mean, yes, you know, it's been done before. Bram Stoker's Dracula tried to turn him into kind of a misunderstood anti-hero type of thing, with the whole, you know, he was a great warrior, blah blah blah, which and protected his nation and etc. etc. But and that all of this was mainly because of his love for his wife and so on and so forth. But it wasn't as on the nose as it was here, because that's just what Del Toro does. So I give it a 5 out of 7 on the 7th scale. It's worth a watch, but it's not going to be one that I'll be going back to frequently. When I want my Frankenstein fix, I'll watch the 94 version with De Niro. So there you have it. Now, with that out of the way, I have procured a copy of what will be the next DBTS. Right now, I'm still just posting ones from the dead DBTS channel that none of y'all apparently watched because you never subbed to that channel. And so these are, you know, one of them didn't get any views, which I expected that, and that was the Babylon's Fall. I knew that one wasn't going to get crap for views, but the one for Halo Infinite did really well. The one for Marvel's Avengers feels like it'll eventually break 1,000 views, which, you know, it's sad that I'm to the point where I feel like 1,000 views is a successful upload, but that's where I'm at now. So, which, you know, that kind of disappoints me, because my newest game room tour that, you know, it took us a year to make, it still hasn't broken 1,000 views yet. And we usually always get, you know, well over 2,000 views on those. Sometimes way more than that. But it is what it is. Anyway, I've still got 1 or 2 of the old DBTSs to upload, and then I'll be posting new ones. The first new one to go up, the footage has already been recorded for, and that's Lost Soul Aside. I hated that game so much I couldn't even finish it. I only got like a couple hours into it. Hated it so much I turned it off. So that one will be a short and sweet DBTS, because I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than the fact that I hated it. The next DBTS, which after that I haven't recorded the footage for because I literally just received the game yesterday, is Mind's Eye. Yes, friends, I will be delving into the catastrophe that was Mind's Eye. Scored an El Cheapo copy of it so that we could plumb its depths and see what horrible things we find therein. So that will be the next one. After that, uh, I'd like to open up the floor tonight for discussion of other current gen games. I don't do previous gen games with DBTS. It's got to be current gen games that you feel are 4 or less on the 7th scale. And another thing, we don't do sports games around here. So don't be coming to me about how bad the newest Madden is or that kind of garbage. Don't care. So feel free to share that. Any games that come to mind, current gen, that are terrible, that I should be looking at for DBTS. Now, what made Amazon's Rings of Power so bad? They hired the wrong writers for it, and they're making crap up that were not in the books. They're getting the timelines mixed up. They're getting the timelines all wrong as far as when this character appeared, when that character appeared. There are characters that never met each other in Tolkien's work that are walking around together in Rings of Power. But, all of that kind of thing I could forgive if the writing was good. But the writing is not good. Okay? They, especially in regards to what they have done to some of the characters like Galadriel and Gandalf and stuff. I mean, Galadriel, they've just butchered her all to hell. They've just butchered her all to hell. They've basically turned her into Red Sonja for freaking... It's stupid. It's stupid, and that's why I don't like it. And then, they get around the fact... They get around the fact that there were no hobbits during the time frame that they're talking about by taking a brief peoples that were mentioned in one of Tolkien's appendices or something, and giving them an entire big full backstory of being basically the ancestors of the hobbits. So it sucks, man. It sucks. What concert? I ain't telling you that, because then a bunch of strangers would know where 8th was. I'm not going to tell you that. What you talking about, Willis? Do you like the Castlevania games? Yes, I'm a Castlevania fan. I prefer the Metroidvania style Castlevania games over the straightforward, arcadey ones like the original and Castlevania 3 and Super Castlevania 4, Castlevania Bloodlines. I prefer the ones where you have to run around and look for stuff and do backtracking and leveling up and all that kind of stuff. I like those better. Basically, like Castlevania 2 and Symphony of the Night. That's what I prefer. But I do like Castlevania, yes. Is it Sonic Expo or just other? I don't know what you're talking about, Blaze. I didn't say anything about Sonic. What are you talking about? Platformer RPG. I personally prefer platformers. I play both. I don't. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a platformer. Sometimes I'm in the mood for an RPG. It just depends on when you ask me. Do you have a personal favorite PS2 movie tie-in game? Probably Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, even though that's more of a prequel than a direct movie tie-in. Although I do have a really soft spot for God of War because it was a really fun, not God of War, Ghost Rider, because it was a really fun God of War clone. Do you still have your old PlayStation consoles? Yes, I have multiple PS2s. I only have one PS1, and it's the the PS1 Slim. I'd like to have an original model PS1. I just haven't picked one up lately. But I've got multiple PS2s, multiple PS3s, multiple PS4s. I've got 4 PS5s, 2 Pros, and 2 Standards. And when I say I'm talking about my collection and 8's collection. So I have a PS2 Fat and a PS2 Slim. He has a PS2 Fat, and a PS2 Slim. He has multiple PS3s. I have multiple PS3s, and so on and so forth. But there's only one PS1 in the house, and it's the PS1 Slim. I mean, back in the day, you could buy the original model PS1 out of box for like $10. I don't know how much they go for now, but I just haven't been in any rush to pick one up because I have so many things that'll play PS1 discs at this point. There ain't really much need for me to own one other than just to have another one sitting on the shelf. I mean, my Polymega will play any PS1 game from any region, so. I love the first Incredibles game, guilty pleasure of mine. I think I have that on PS2, I think, somewhere. I'd have to look. Hi, Sage J. How's it going? The King Kong tie-in game, it was okay, but the 360 version was better than the PS2 version. I mean, I hate to say it, but it's true. How was that? Well, I just talked about Frankenstein, Bill. You must have missed it. I just finished talking about it. It's a 5 out of 7. It's okay to watch, but it's not going to be my go-to Frankenstein movie. That remains the 1994 version. And in case anyone was curious, no, I'm going to piss some people off here, but no, I am not a fan of the original Frankenstein film. Sure, when I was 4 years old, it frightened me when I saw it. But now I'm an adult man. And when I watch it, I fail to understand what all the fascination was back in the 30s. Same thing with Bram Stoker's Dracula, really. Both of them have this super abrupt ending that just, it doesn't really have an ending. The movie just stops. There's nothing scary in that Frankenstein. None of the nuance of it is there. As far as the Frankenstein monster never even learns to talk. It's just they did like the absolute most bare bones version of the story they could absolutely do. They cut out so much and made it so bare bones. He goes to a cemetery, digs up some dead people. Oh, he builds a monster. Oh, he strikes it with lightning and it comes to life. Oh, and eventually it breaks free and it kills a few people. And then you have the ending at the windmill, which doesn't happen in the book at all. None of the stuff in the North Pole happens in the original movie. It's just not a good movie. It's not a good adaptation of Frankenstein. And this was something that me and Billy argued over, because Billy was a fan of the Universal Monster movies and I am not. I preferred the 2010 Wolfman to the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. because they just aren't good movies. I'm just saying. Go back and rewatch the original Dracula. When I saw Peter McNichol's comedic take on Renfield in Dracula Dead and Loving It, I chuckled and I was like, boy, they're really hamming it up for this spoof on Dracula. And then recently I rewatched Bela Lugosi's Dracula, and no, Peter McNichol was playing Renfield almost exactly like he's really played in that movie. Yes, master. Yes, give me lives. Give me flies and spiders, master. I was laughing my ass off. Anyway. I prefer Bram Stoker's Dracula to Bela Lugosi's Dracula. I prefer Kenneth Branagh's Frankenstein 1994 to the original, what was it? Stephen Baird? I can't remember I think Baird was the last name of the director of the one from the 30s. It had Boris Karloff in it. We'll just say I prefer De Niro's Frankenstein movie over Karloff's Frankenstein movie. And I prefer the 2010 Benicio del Toro Wolfman over Lon Chaney Jr.'s 1930s or early 40s Wolfman. And I know that, and that pissed Billy off. He did not like the fact that I disagreed with him on those films. But that's just the way it is. I don't consider those classics. I consider them cheesy. Never liked them. I loved Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992. I thought it was a great film. The weakest link in that film is I know everyone loves him now, but the weakest link was Keanu Reeves. He could not do a proper British accent to save his life. Neither could Winona Ryder, but still, she gave it a decent effort. His was just awful. And Anthony Hopkins overacted a little bit here and there. But other than that, that was a great rendition of Dracula. Yes, it does throw in the whole, it's a romantic story between him and Mina, blah, blah, blah. But that wasn't actually the first version of Dracula to do that. The original Nosferatu's from 100 years ago never scared me because of when he was in that SpongeBob episode. Yeah. Now, me and Eighth went to see the new version of Nosferatu at the theater, and both of us liked it. I mean, it's slow, but both of us really liked it. In fact, we got it on 4K. We liked it so much. Thoughts on The Lost Boys? Oh, I love The Lost Boys. The Lost Boys is one of my quintessential must-have 80s movies. Pardon me. My glasses are a little bit dirty. Okay. That'll do for now, pig. It's one of my quintessential 80s movies. Oddly enough, it's one that I don't own on Blu-ray or 4K. I've been buying up all my favorite movies from the 80s either on 4K or Blu-ray, depending on whether it's available on 4K or not. The most recent one that I picked up has actually been back ordered, and that's the 4K of Daryl. I don't know if you remember Daryl, but it's a movie that stars Hathaway, the kid that played Bastion in Neverending Story, and he's a kid who the scientists gave a robotic cybernetic brain, so he's kind of like Data from Star Trek, and he escapes the lab, and the government's trying to track him down, whereas this family kind of adopts him, and he's like living a normal life, but has this supercomputer in his head, so he's able to do all this amazing stuff. If you've never seen it, it's one of those 80s films that you just kind of have to experience it at least once. The other one that I've ordered that is also on back order is Tron Legacy 4K. It was supposed to arrive by October 31st, and Halloween rolls around and I don't have my Tron, and Amazon says, oh, well, now it's not going to show up till November 26th. My regular original Tron 4K, it showed up on time. It showed up right when it was supposed to. But Tron Legacy, apparently there was a shortage of copies or something. So I'm having to wait on that one. But what's some other ones that I picked up over the last year? I picked up Inner Space. Do you remember Inner Space? Where they shrink Dennis Quaid down in this little submarine, and they're going to inject him into a rabbit Fantastic Voyage style, and instead he accidentally gets injected into Martin Short. It's a great movie, and the effects have held up really, really well. I love that movie, and but they haven't released it on 4K, so I had to buy the Blu-ray, but the Blu-ray was only $8. And the thing of it is, nowadays, most 4K Blu-ray players and most TVs nowadays upscale any 1080p image to 4K anyway, or upscaled 4K. So oftentimes you can't really tell much of a difference between the 4K and a 1080p when you're viewing it on the right type of screen. Like, for example, I have an upscaling 70-inch screen, and I can sit and watch one of my movies on 4K, and then I can go and watch Interspace on 1080p, and there's not really a whole lot of difference quality-wise between the two. Now, there are some transfers that just look amazing, and then there's some 4K transfers where you can't tell for the life of you what makes that version better than the one that you had before. It just is what it is. It all depends. That's why you should read reviews on transfers before you buy them to find out if it was a really good, high quality, for example, fresh 4K transfer from the original negative, that kind of thing. Hi, Clean Frame. Speaking of Bella, did you like Ed Wood? I think I may have asked you this before. Oh, yeah, I love Ed Wood. Wish I had it physically, but I don't. I really only recently, in the last year, started giving a shit about 4K. So if you look over my head there, that third shelf down, all the way to the right, just that very last shelf and about most of the shelf to its left is 4K, and then everything to the left of that is regular Blu-ray. So I don't really own that much 4K, and neither does 8th. 8th has maybe one little shelf of 4K, so we're just barely getting into that. Because, there's so many movies that we watch, 80s stuff, that's still only available in Blu-ray, and in some cases are only available in DVD. As one example, Turk 182. Turk 182 was never even put on Blu-ray and was never released on DVD in the States. I had to import a DVD from the UK. Condor Man from Disney has never been put on Blu-ray. The only thing you can do is import a DVD from the UK. I love Condor Man. For me, it's just an unofficial Pink Panther movie. It's like the American Pink Panther. I love that movie. I thought it was great. Ed Wood cracks you up. Ed Wood is a good movie. I like Ed Wood. And like I said, I wish I had it on 4K, but I don't. I've been watching Welcome to Derry on HBO Max, and I'll say it's pretty good so far. I have liked it, but in the most recent episode, there is a plot reveal, and I know I typically have an aversion to spoilers, but this time I'm going to, because once you hear this as a Stephen King It fan, this may dissuade you from wanting to watch this show. They have revealed a subplot wherein the U.S. military is trying to locate, dig up Pennywise because they want to use him as a weapon of war. I'm not making that up. That's a subplot of this show. And how are they finding Pennywise? Dick Halloran, the cook from The Shining, is in the Air Force, and there's an Air Force base that he's stationed at in Derry, and he's using his shining powers to help search for Pennywise so that the government can confiscate him and use him as a weapon. I'm dead serious. So if that sounds as stupid to you as it does to me, you might end up saving yourself some time with this one. I mean, outside of that, the episodes have been great. The gore has been great, but it's the dumbest subplot. I was shocked. My mouth fell just wide open when that was revealed. That they had Dick Halloran standing out on like a park ranger's lookout tower. Dick over there. I think he's over there. I'm dead serious. I am dead serious. Otherwise, I wouldn't throw a spoiler out there. But it's so bad of a subplot, I had to tell you about it. I'm sorry. It's just so awful. Anyway, I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I don't know if I should subtitle it Attack of the Mini Games or Ops All Mini Games, but sweet baby Jesus, there are entirely too many mini games in this game. Yeah, they really went overboard with that one. But the original had some mini games in it, but I guess they figured, well, this is 20 years later, and it's much more advanced technology, and we got a lot more storage capacity. We're just going to cram every mini game we've ever thought of into this one. I guess that's what they're doing. That being said, they are mini games because they're optional. You don't have to play them, not unless I guess you're going for trophies. So Shining and It are in the same universe. Well, Stephen King established a long time ago that pretty much all of his books take place in the same universe. He did that with the Dark Tower series. If you haven't read the Dark Tower books, they basically tie all of Stephen King's books together into one narrative. I would like to see in future seasons, if it gets renewed, on how Pennywise landed on Earth. As we know, the clown from Pennywise it's not his true form. Yeah, well, the showrunner basically said that if it's successful enough, every season is going to go 27 years backwards because Pennywise only came out every 27 years. So I think we're in the 60s with this one. So then it's going to jump back to like probably the 40s, and then it'll jump back to the 1910s or 1920s and so on and so forth. So, yeah, Bill, even Stephen King himself is a character in the Dark Tower books because they end up going to a world where, he's he's part of the narrative. So, yeah. Don't know. If you didn't know before, you know now. So keep on going, folks. We're only 30 minutes in, and y'all are already not asking questions. If y'all have got somewhere else to be, by all means, I'm sick today. I can just go to bed. I don't have to be here. So, keep the questions coming, or we can just shut this off. That's up to y'all. I wasn't going to do gameplay this weekend because, I had difficulty finding another night that I could do gameplay on throughout the week because, Eric streams and he just streams when he wants to. He doesn't have a set schedule. Jay streams gameplay and he doesn't have a set schedule. He just streams when he feels like streaming. I don't want to do that. I want to have a set day where everyone knows this is the day that I stream games. And I just couldn't happen across one where something else was going on. I'm surprised we didn't get it in Mortal Kombat. Is that still not that I'm aware of, Bill? Pennywise in the prehistoric period? I guess you want Pennywise like getting into fights with T-Rexes and stuff? For real prehistoric? Do you think Sony will remake the Resistance games? Probably not. I suppose that's something that Bluepoint could do. But as far as I know, Bluepoint is making a remake of the original God of War game. Now, I don't want to turn the 7thCast into a gameplay thing, Bill. That was just a last week thing to, test out my build to make sure it worked. I wanted to make sure that the Polymega would perform okay for a multi-hour stream. and I wanted to make sure that my OBS build for it worked. And so last week was just a test run. Just a test run. There were so many mini games in Final Fantasy VII, they made an entire section of the story a cavalcade of mini games that you have to play to advance the plot. AKA Golden Saucer. Well, I still haven't played Rebirth. 8th did that. 8th beat it. He didn't plat it, but he beat it. And I haven't even touched it. Well, that was my intention, Cold Shadow, was to do game streams during the week, like maybe on a Wednesday, and leave the 7thCast for Saturday nights. But I just couldn't find a day during the week where someone else wasn't streaming. I was going to stream last night. Jay was streaming. I tried to stream Wednesday night. Eric was streaming. I'm just trying not to step on anybody's toes here. Who would win between Art the Clown and Pennywise? It's hard to say because at this point we don't really know the extent of Art's power. We know he's supernatural in nature. We just don't know what his limits are. But if everything that he's been able to do on screen so far is his limit, then Pennywise would wipe the floor with him. Eric streams when Jay. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not gonna be like that. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to. I'm trying to be respectful. Did you like Metal Gear Solid 4? I don't like Metal Gear Solid in general because I'm not a stealth game player. I don't like stealth games. I think they're boring and tedious. So, Metal Gear has never been my thing. I liked Metal Gear 1 and Snake's Revenge on NES, okay. But I've never been a fan overall of anything that came after those because I just don't get into the whole stealth gameplay thing. I don't like it when other games use it either. Like every time that there's been a stealth section in Uncharted, I've hated it. It's just not my thing, guys. I prefer to go in guns blazing. I'm a child of the 80s. I like my action. I want to Schwarzenegger things up in there. I don't want to be sneaking around. Do 7thCast live at Retropalooza, maybe at a panel. I can't do a panel at Retropalooza because I'm not a guest. Only guests get panels. Doing the 7thCast live at Retropalooza was actually something that had been a topic of discussion between me and Billy, but Billy didn't run Retropalooza. Jay ran Retropalooza. It's Jay's call, and I've never been invited to be a guest, so I don't have a panel. Nor have I ever been asked to take part in someone else's panel. Here was what I mostly did at Retropalooza, okay? And if you guys come to Retropalooza in December, you're going to see much of the same. I walk around and say hello to all my friends. I buy a few things here and there. I attend the panels of my friends. But mostly, more than anything else, I would sit behind Billy and help keep an eye on his table when he needed to get up and go somewhere. I also would do that for Captain Retro when Captain Retro regularly attended the Retropalooza. We would help him keep an eye on his booth as well. But once he stopped attending, Billy just had me sitting behind him. Billy always made sure I had a chair at their table. I would never sit up at their table because that would be taking away room from if Jay wanted to come and sit down or what have you. But so I had a chair up against the wall in their area behind them, and I would come and sit down and just chill. And this was back when I was still vaping, so I'd sit back there, and when no one was looking, take a quick vape and just chill out and talk with everybody. And every now and again, someone would recognize me and they'd come up and want to talk or take a picture or have an autograph. And that's the closest to being a guest that I ever bothered to be. I'll go to the panels and watch, but and Billy would still try to get me involved in them without actually, having me come up and sit at the table. He'd be talking about how he wanted to take a picture of the audience sitting in the panel, and he'd say, "Oh, and look, we have the seventh level out in the audience. He was in episode 68." Everybody would turn to look at me. Yeah, that kind of thing. But no, I've never been a guest. I've never had a panel there. It just is what it is. If you could play Metal Gear Solid as stealth or guns blazing, would you play? I don't know, because that'd mean having to break out the PS3. We should ask Jay to invite you to, in his next invite you. We should ask Jay to invite me to his next stream. Jay lives 2 hours away from me, man. I can't just like show up at his apartment, I don't just. I'm not that guy. If I'm not invited, I don't go. Billy's been to my house multiple times. Mostly alone. One time with Jay. I've never been in Billy's house because, the few times that he invited me to go do something with him, it was never at his house. It was always, "Hey, I'm going to be going to this toy show or that thing. Why don't you meet me there?" But he always waited until the night before, where I didn't have the time to take the time off or whatnot. So I was constantly having to tell him no, because he would think of me at the last minute, think, "Hey, this would be his cool thing for 7th to come hang out at," and he'd call and invite me to it. But by that point, I couldn't schedule a day off. I was just stuck. He did that to me multiple times. Made me feel like such an a-hole. But one thing that he never did was invite me to his house. I don't know why. He gave me his address. I had his address for like shipping him stuff and things like that. But he never actually invited me up to his house. So, I haven't ever been in his game room. I've just, he's sent me like, a video of panning around it so I could see the entire layout of it and whatnot. But I don't go where I'm not invited, So it is what it is. I've been invited to Retropalooza, but I haven't been invited to anything outside of that, except for stuff that Billy would invite me to last minute that I couldn't make it to. No, I don't want you to do that, Cold Shadow, because he's just going to think that I put you up to it, and I don't want that. It's not that big a deal. Just don't worry about it. John, I had a video that made over 1 million views when the Game Chasers show was less than 2 years old. If they haven't noticed by now, they're not gonna. Warhammer 40K had an event last night, and Titus is now back as captain of the Ultramarine 2nd Company. Along with a new model, it gives a taste of what Space Marine 3 could be like. Okay. Not that big a fan of Warhammer, but all right. I've never played the Dreamcast. Was it a great console? It had some great games on it, but it was a 3D. It was a 3D console that only had one analog stick. So it, that in itself limited it in comparison to the PS2. What was the Game Chaser set like for the movie? I wasn't there on set with them. Uh, my scene was directed remotely by Billy because my scene was added to the film after principal photography had already wrapped. When they were doing pickup shots and stuff to finalize the film, like the summer after they filmed, uh, Billy decided he wanted me for that little commercial that was playing on the TV. And so he told me what to build, how to set up the set, what he wanted everything to be, how he wanted it laid out, what angle to film the shots in. And then he sent me a script of the lines and then told me to also improvise in case he wanted to use extra footage. And so I recorded about 10 minutes of footage and filmed it at the angles that he wanted, got him the shots that he wanted, and sent all of that to him. And maybe 7 seconds of it actually ended up in the movie. But yeah, there was also a whole other scene that was actually filmed at Retropalooza 2019 for a dream sequence. Eric was going to have this dream sequence, and they cut that out too. They cut the whole sequence out. So I was going to be in the movie twice, and the summer scene that I filmed was supposed to explain why I was in Eric's dream sequence, but they just cut the whole dream sequence out. So I don't even think it's in extra features. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. You should hang out in Jay's live chat more. You're a mod, but you're barely in there. He never announces when he's going to stream. There's been times where I've been playing a video game and I get off the video game and I have a notice from YouTube saying that he went live and he's not on anymore. I can't just sit and monitor what Jay's doing 24/7, Shadow, just in case he happens to go live. I have a full-time job and I have my own things that I want to do. If I'm not doing anything and I log on to YouTube and I see that he's streaming, I hop in there every time. To be fair, Screenwave sucks, but not even their bad advice can stop. I need to check out that 1,000,000 view video. I'm new to your channel. It's my DBTS of the Xbox One. If you go to the Don't Buy This Shit section, it's my review of the Xbox One. It broke 1.2 million views back in 2013. Clean Frame, I don't actually care enough about Grand Theft Auto to make predictions about it, but I knew it was going to get delayed because everything Rockstar does gets delayed. Was the Game Chasers movie better than AVGN's movie? I think it was. And they had far less money to play with, too. You might like that one also, John, because that one you get a little bit of a taste of the old house that I was living in when I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved to Texas in 2017 when my company basically gave me three options. They said, we're closing down the Charlotte office, so you can either take your severance and go find work elsewhere, or you can move to Atlanta, or you can move to Texas. And I talked to Billy about it, and Billy convinced me to move to Texas instead of taking the severance and finding another job and staying in North Carolina. And that's why I've said, when it comes to my life in Texas, I wouldn't have this life were it not for Billy. Do you think Screenwave is what caused the falling out between James and Mike and Bootsy and Kyle? No. No. The Game Chasers movie was more loyal to the channel lore and characters. True. Yeah, AVGN had like new sidekicks and stuff, as opposed to just having, uh, all the original co-stars, for lack of a better term, in it. I never understood that. Who's this kid that's following AVGN around like he's been there the whole time? His cameraman. Great time to move to Texas. Things have been getting weird on the East and West Coast. Yeah, we've liked it. I mean, initially we were in Austin, but we were in the outskirts of Austin. We weren't in the downtown area. Yeah, I mean, I could appreciate AVGN's movie for what it was. I have an autographed copy of it where he signed it when he was at Retropalooza that one time. But it was a really strong deviation from the show. And so it almost felt like it was an alternate universe version of AVGN. And I just didn't like it. There were elements of it that I laughed at, but for the most part, the script just didn't feel like AVGN. And at least in regards to adventures in game chasing, it feels true to the show. I mean, it's a totally fictionalized story. They didn't get into game chasing in exactly this way that you see in the film. But as far as like what the show is like and the places they've gone and the things that they do and whatnot, it's very on point with the show. Will you go see Chris Stuckman's new movie? No, I'll check it out on streaming. What happened to the main Screenwave dude? Last I remembered, he looked like he was transitioning and then he disappeared. I suspect that he's very confused right now and doesn't know whether he wants to do that or not, and that's why nobody sees him anymore. He's just taking himself out of the public eye. I've only met him once. He was at the first Retropalooza in Arlington that I ever went to. Or he was at the second one. I can't remember. He was at one of them. It was whichever one that AVGN was at. He was there too. And at that time, I was with Screenwave, and he knew. I will give him this much. He knew who I was when he saw me. And he made sure that I knew to come to the dinner that night that they were all going to. And so, I got to have dinner with Mike Matei and whatnot. Now, James wasn't there, but I don't know where he ate dinner, but apparently he didn't want to have dinner with everybody. But Mike Matei and his girlfriend at the time was there. And so I got to have dinner with Mike Matei at the Twisted Root in DFW. It was Mike Matei and all the other Screenwave people were there. I got to meet GameSack that year too. I met Joe and Dave. Well, back when GameSack wasn't just Joe, I got to meet Joe and Dave. That was cool. I also met. Who else did I meet that year? I met Dreamcast guy that year, and also Norm, the gaming historian. I met the gaming historian. I met a lot of people that year. I met Black Nerd Comedy. I met him. And yes, I met Gerard the Completionist that year. Yes, I did. I love AVGN. Just the movie was off. Honestly, I would love a remake or a new attempt. He's laying low and running the company, hence the rebrand and such. I love AVGN too. He has some rewatchable episodes, and he seems like a decent guy, and seems pretty talented. Yeah. Screenwave was crashing behind the scenes. They couldn't even pay their employees. Working with James a fair wage. Yeah, well, uh, I'm not going to say anything. I know some behind the scenes stuff in regards to Screenwave and what happened there, but I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. Yeah, I know Bill, but at the time, I don't know that Mike's current girlfriend was the girlfriend that he brought with him to Retropalooza that year. I don't know. DMC gets a lot of crap shoveled at him. DMC? Oh, Dreamcast guy. Never liked him. Cold Shadow. Never liked Dreamcast guy. He seems like a bootlicker. I remember he would spam comments on all the retro content to boost his channel. Well, I will say this. I met Dreamcast guy. I've never been in any kind of argument or anything with him. He was perfectly friendly to me when I met him in person. But that being said, he doesn't. When you meet him in person, he doesn't act or sound anything like the person that you see in front of the camera. Like his overly accentuated accent that he uses in his videos and the whole "dude, get got here" and all that crap that he doesn't do any of that in person. He only does that on camera. Let me tell you something. When you meet me in person, if you come to Retropalooza and you meet me, this is what you hear. This is what you hear. There is no on-camera 7th and off-camera 7th. There's just 7th. No, the 7th day of the week is Saturday. Sunday is the first day of the week. Is it common in this day and age for someone you know, at least online, to transition? It happened to me with a streamer I followed. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not an authority on that clean frame. Jay and Eric don't stream on Sundays for the most part. Eh, I think it would be better to have some kind of separation and not have me streaming this on Saturdays and streaming gameplay on Sundays. That might be a little bit much. Do you remember Cygnus of the Destroyer, LJN Defender? No, I don't remember that one. Did you like Sega Genesis? I love Sega Genesis. How's it going? Hey, J Chip, how's it going? Hi, Samuel. Hello, hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Oh man. I'm hurting today, folks. My age is making itself known. I mean, I really want to do it on Wednesday nights because that, to me, that feels like a good break. But I would understand, you know, it seems like I don't know that many of my people, my fans, my followers, my watchers, my subscribers would show up on a Wednesday night to watch me play games live. I mean, hell, I'm having trouble getting up to the 30 viewers that I'm used to on here as it is. Do I still keep up with the Crumb side and or Weapon Wheel? No. Yeah, I still talk to Black Bond, but that's pretty much it, really. I talked to Black Bond and I talked to Tokes, who shows up in the chat every now and again. I used to keep up with Titanfall Princess, but she's kind of dropped off the face of the earth. She used to show up and watch the 7thCast every Saturday, but she don't show up no more. I don't know. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Two hours remaining. We have 2 hours remaining. There have been 0 donations tonight. As a reminder, all donations right up until the weekend of Retropalooza will be going to fund my trip to Retropalooza. And the way this stream works is the more that's donated, the longer the stream lasts. If there's $50 in donations, it becomes a 4-hour stream. If there's $100 in donations, it becomes a 5-hour stream. If there's $150 in donations or more, it's a butt-numbingly long 6-hour stream. So at this time, since there's been 0 donations, we are $50 short of extending it by 1 hour, so you have 2 hours left. Those of you who've been watching me for a long time know this already, but there's some new people in here, so just letting y'all know that's how it works around here. Let's see. For me, it was Jack the Bomb. I'm not familiar with that YouTuber at all. From John Kratz, I could start working it into my schedule. I work from home. It's nice to have something to keep me awake during boring work. We see that's what me and Billy were for each other, because we both worked from home. Because starting in 2020 with the pandemic, my company sent us all home, and they decided to just keep me home. And so I've been work from home for over 5 years now. And so me and Billy would just talk back and forth. And you know, we cycled back and forth from Twitter to Facebook private messages and back. So, you know, if you look at my Twitter and you look at my Facebook, both of them have conversation history between me and Billy going back years and years of stuff. And, you know, that helped keep me sane, because I would sit in my recliner with my laptop, working, fixing things and whatnot. And then, you know, I'd get a little buzz on my phone, and I'd look down and Billy would have sent me something. And so I would reply to him, and he provided me with a little break to keep me and my OCD from getting too serious into my job. Because if I get too hyper focused on what I'm doing in regards to my job, I forget to do other things like drink water, for example, or stop working, for example. It's not unheard of for me to accidentally work a 16-hour shift, because I just get so focused on getting more work done that I lose track of everything else. Well, Billy would help prevent that. And now that he's gone, I'm sliding a little bit back into that, and it's a little worrying, but I mean, I don't have severe, like, as good as it gets OCD. You know, I can walk on cracks without worrying about it. I don't wash my hands with scalding hot water 30 times a day. I don't have to tap my feet a certain way to put my shoes on. But when it comes to work, I'm OCD about my work. I have to have everything set up a certain way. I have to do everything a certain way. I have to complete a certain percentage of work, or I have not had a productive day, and I have to extend my day longer to make sure that I reach that goal. That kind of thing. When I sleep, I dream about work. So, to a greater extent, except for my off days, it can often feel like I never stop working. Because even when I'm asleep, I'm doing my job in my sleep. I think it's because she was accused of being a dude by Omega Luz. Yeah, but that happened, Cold Shadow, that happened way before she disappeared off of my, uh, of watching my show. Hell, I was a guest panelist on her podcast for a good while. And that happened way after people accused her of being a dude. I feel like the Dreamcast was way ahead of its time, that being where you rank it in the generation it was in, 7. Well, that's the thing. It was kind of like the Wii U. It was an in-between generation release. Technically, when it came out, it came out during the PS1 N64 Saturn era. And in my opinion, technically it would be part of the next generation because it was a 128-bit console, just like the PS2 was. But the PS2 was still more powerful. It had more powerful graphics processor. But it was still kind of an in-between thing, if you ask me. From John Kratz, my bank decided to change hands and cancel our cards until we received a new one in the mail, so I can't donate. That's okay. That's okay. Are you on Twitter? Yes, at the 7th level. THE 7THLEVEL. At the 7th level. Same. I modded for Billy and Jay before during the fundraiser for the movie. I lost my girlfriend, and the community kept me sane. Without them, I'd have been all alone. Well, I've been there. I'm divorced. Twice divorced if you consider the fact that my fiance at the time refused to move to Texas with me. Is what it is. So I was married. I got divorced. Then I had this girlfriend. We were engaged. She wouldn't come to Texas with me. So, we were together for several years. So I consider that second divorce, even though we technically were never married. It was common law marriage by law. It was legal, but who is the most overrated wrestler of all time in terms of ring ability? Chris Benoit. He could throw punches, he could do German suplexes, and he could jump off of a rope and hit you with his head. I see you doing a great job with the Game Chasers fan page. Jay was shouting out the new page yesterday. Nice. The one named Shadow. I'm glad I'm not the only one with that experience, but in these times, people are going, yeah. Well, on top of that clean frame, I think there's a lot of social contagion going on where people are being convinced uh, that they are a certain thing to where it's almost like an online form of peer pressure. You'll see this a lot in teenagers right now because you'll have entire groups of a clique of friends that all start transitioning because they've realized they're trans. Statistically, this is impossible. It's social contagion. When Bond starts his podcast, do you think you'd be on it if he asked you to be on an episode or several? My roots run deep. I don't want to budge from my home either. Do you ever think you should have taken the severance and found another job? No, because I hated North Carolina. Even though North Carolina, geographically speaking, wasn't that different from where I grew up. But then again, in this particular part of Texas where I am, it ain't that different from where I grew up neither. So, I grew up in a surrounding area of Chattanooga, Tennessee called Harrison. That's where I grew up, Harrison, Tennessee. And where I am in Texas right now is very similar to Harrison. As for Bond, if he asked me and I wasn't doing anything, sure, I'd be on his podcast. I don't know if he's going to ask me that, though. I mean, he's asked me to do some one-on-one stuff before, but I was on Weapon Wheel once, but my microphone was malfunctioning and they never invited me back because my audio was so terrible. And, well, that was one reason anyway. Do you read gaming magazines? No, not really. No, not something that I do. As far as game magazines that I was into, like everybody else, I read Electronic Gaming Monthly. I read Game Fan, but my go-to gaming magazine, well, and I did Nintendo Power when I had an NES. But my real go-to gaming magazine back in the day was Video Games and Computer Entertainment, also known as VGCE. And the reason I liked that one was because when they did reviews, they would do these really long multi-page reviews that went real in depth into their critique of the games, and I liked that a lot more than GameSpot and their little or GamePro and their little paragraphs with a little score down at the bottom. These were big multi-page reviews. I liked that a lot. Oh wow, dude, we interacted a bit on Twitter when Smash was beefing with Eric. Yeah, during that period, that was during the time where Billy was getting sick of trolls, and he knew that I had a history of destroying trolls online, and so he asked me to help out, and so I was defending, I was trying to do crowd control with Smash JT uh, for Billy, Eric, and Wood at the time, because that was during the period where Smash JT had failed to become the next John Riggs or the next Metal Jesus or even the next Review Tech USA, and so he decided at one point that he was going to be the next Radical Rick or Darius Truxton, and he was just going to attack the entire retro gaming community. And so he was going after Billy, and he was going the Game Chasers in total. He was going after Eric. He was going after Wood. He was really trying to be that Radical Rick, anti retro community dude, and he sucked at it, of course. And so that was a period where I was like, screwing with Smash on Twitter at every opportunity that I could get. I still don't like him. I don't care that Eric's made peace with him. I don't care that Billy had made peace with him before he passed away, as evidenced by the fact that Billy actually posed for a picture with the asshole. To me, he's still an a-hole, a disingenuous fake, a fraud, and I don't want anything to do with him. He's a grifter that changes his grift depending on what gets him the most views. And I don't like it. And plus, he sounds like a sniveling little snot, and I don't want to have anything to do with the asshole. Have I moved around a lot? Well, let's see. I grew up in Tennessee. I left Tennessee in 1998 and moved to Florida. I left Florida and went to Georgia for 6 months in 2001. Went back to Florida after 9/11. Stayed in Florida until 2007 and was relocated by my company to North Carolina who the following year in 2008 laid me off because of the mortgage crisis. And so I went from contract job to contract job in North Carolina until I got hired by my current employer in 2012. And then in 2016, they let me know that 4 years later, that they were closing that center down, and I could take my severance, go to Atlanta or go to Texas. I had made friends with Billy by that point. I talked to Billy about it. Billy convinced me to move to Texas, and so now I'm in Texas. There you go. History of 7th. You remember me on Weapon Wheel? Well, like I said, I was only there the one time. I know we can't get political on this channel, but before I ask my question, can I get this one mulligan? No. David Jaffe was on Weapon Wheel and did the Irish goodbye and just split because he was bored. I can't say I blame him. That show can get boring, and it got really boring after they got rid of Hard 8. And then now it's even more boring that they've gotten rid of gotten rid of Black Bond. I liked PlayStation Magazine because it came with those PS2 demo discs. I liked Sega's magazine, Sega Visions. I had a subscription to it for a while. Have you seen Predator Badlands? It looks terrible. I did not go see it. I have not gone to see the previous two. I wait for them to get on streaming and then I watch them there. Not only that, but you give off security bodyguard vibes, especially in your top 17 Sega video. You should see some of my old stuff. You see, I didn't start out in the retro community, John Kratz. I started out in what was originally called the YouTube console war community. I was a member of a console war troll group called the Trey Brotherhood that was led by a YouTuber known as El Presador. You may have heard of El Presador because of a series of videos he did where he was tackling trees and knocking trees over. Or you may have seen fans of his walking around speaking in Gregorian, which is this gibberish language that he made up, where he would troll people by walking up and starting to scream at them in this gibberish language. But when I knew him, he was leader of the Trey Brotherhood. And so it was us supporting the PS3 or the Trey versus General MLD and his Xbox 360 Republic people. And that went on for a few years. And when he got tired of it, decided that he was going to do Call of Duty live streaming for Machinima, he handed the Trey Brotherhood over to me, and I took it over for another year. And eventually, when the PS3 outsold the 360, that's when I was like, enough is enough. And so I ended all of that when I reviewed the Xbox One. Because the minute I got the Xbox One in my house, I knew it was going to fail compared to the PS4. And so I was like, there's no point in arguing this for another 5 or 6 years. The PS4 is superior to this piece of trash and will win the generation. So I'm ending it here. And I was right. And so from there, I went to strictly doing video game reviews and occasionally going out and filming me and my son going and looking for retro video games. We didn't do that much of that. It was just a very every so often thing because we didn't have a whole lot of money, to be honest with you. But it was around that time, like 2015, that me and Billy became aware of each other. I didn't really start watching their channel until like early 2016. But we had found each other on Twitter. I had responded to a tweet that someone I followed had retweeted of Billy's saying, hey, everybody, post your game collections. And so I had posted mine, which was very small at the time. But Billy had replied, no, this is actually a really good start. And we started talking to each other. So that's where all that started. And at that time, I was doing this Don't Buy This Shit series. And Billy really liked that video series, and that's how we got started talking. It wasn't even originally about the Game Chasers show. He was just a guy that I knew on Twitter. As for me giving off security bodyguard vibes, John, my father was a police officer. In fact, a popular thing that I used to do on this show was tell stories about my father and his exploits as a cop. Do you agree with what Jay and Chris said about Wood? I can't speak for what happened between Jay and Wood. I wasn't there. I have my own issues with Wood right now that are separate from that situation. Who is a grifter? Smash JT. I've heard the name, but that's it. Yeah, you know, I just really don't like the guy. I think he went after Pat as well. That wouldn't surprise me. What do you think of the Gamer 2323? He's the one that has like that. He's the one that starts laughing and sounds like he's going to cough up a lung when he laughs. He's pretty funny. I used to talk to him semi-regularly back in the console war days. You know who was on Weapon Wheel 2? Solid Rev. Update on the Solid Rev Twitter thing. Oh, I'm still blocked, 56K. I'm still blocked. What drew me to your channel was when Chris was struggling and you were being real and looking out for him. That was legit. Yeah, Chris has had a hard time. And I feel for him because I've been through some of the same stuff he has. You know, I've been through divorce and that kind of thing. I had a much easier time with my divorce than Chris had. But, you know, I still understood the struggle he was going through at the time. Prez the Legend. Yes, sir, Bill. Remember Prezidor and Samuel the Geek? Yes. I still talk to Samuel the Geek. He is now like a city councilman in some town in New Mexico. Never heard of those console wars, but it does sound interesting. John, if you want to know the history of it, there is a documentary series on my channel. It has its own playlist called Tray for Life. There's 10 episodes to it. Start with episode 1. Also, some of the actual videos from that era. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but there is now a membership option on this channel. And one of the things that's going to be a perk is for those of you who are fans of the console war period, I don't have all of them. Like I don't have where I, utterly destroyed the truth setting you free in that last nail in the coffin of hate video. I don't have that one anymore. But I have a good chunk of my original videos from my original channel, and I'm going to upload those to where only people that are members of the channel can see them. And so you'll have access to that entire library of old ass videos. So, yeah. As in the console war videos, not the console war themselves, yeah. People are saying Badlands has become one of the best Predator movies in a while. Well, I'll check it out when it's streaming. I'm not going to the theater. I'm trying to save my money. I remember 7th. So Dark Cloud wants to talk about damage control video. It didn't age well since we know what happened to Dark Cloud. Yeah. He's loving that prison time for being a PDF file. We need to follow up on your Tray for Life documentary about the Crumb Side. There's not enough remaining videos out there for it, Clean Frame. All of the people that were involved in the whole NW Nation thing have erased most of those videos. So they weren't archived like the original war was. And so there wouldn't be enough footage for me to make episodes of it. It was suspicious how he stopped hanging out with the Chasers when he blew up. Well, I mean, he still hung out with them right up until the point where he decided he was going to Pennsylvania. He stopped talking to me 2 years prior to him leaving for Pennsylvania. And I heard from him right at the start of the pandemic in January of 2020. I heard briefly from him then, and then I didn't hear from him again until Billy's death. So over 5 years, he didn't speak to me. For no reason. I never did a thing to him. Hi, Alaskan dude. Exes can be very evil. Well, make sure that you look at the perks, John. Make sure you look at the perks. I haven't set all of the perks up yet. I haven't uploaded those videos yet, but they will be there. I hadn't bothered to do it because no one had signed up for memberships. So some of the perks haven't arrived as of yet. But one of the perks is going to be access to a Discord. I'm going to set up a Discord server, and that's going to be one of the perks. Which I actually already have a Discord set up, but no one was using it, and so I kicked everyone out of it, and I redid all of the threads in it, and so it's just waiting for people to sign up for memberships. But currently there are no memberships. No one has signed up to be a member, so it may end up just sitting there collecting dust and never get any use. Thoughts on Halo coming to PlayStation? Doesn't surprise me any. I told y'all what was going to happen all the way back in 2009. I like the 2010 one Predators. Okay. I can't even talk about Wood. I disappeared on everyone also, but mine was because of my ex sabotaging my life. I've been there. I never liked Wood's appearance on the Game Chasers. Him and Jordan were the two semi-regulars I never liked. I met Jordan in person, and, he was fine. He was fine. He was fine. Never had a problem with Jordan. We got along just fine. But he is an example of a person whose YouTube channel blew up, and then all of a sudden you never saw him on Game Chasers anymore. And he was no longer doing Jay's editing anymore. Once his, Jordan Fringe YouTube channel took off. Did you like Until Dawn? Not especially. I liked the basically light gun Until Dawn game that came out for PlayStation VR, but not the original Until Dawn. 7th, did you like Helldivers 2? No, because I'm not into online shooters anymore. Watched Chainsaw Man in theaters, best anime of the year. Yeah, 8th went to see that at the theater, and he told me it was one of the best anime movies he's ever seen. So I'm excited to see it. I just don't want to go to the theater to see it. My new bank card should arrive next week, and I'll join. Okay, yeah, you'll be the first. Hell, even some of my longtime fans who have been watching me for years haven't signed up to be a member, and I've had the membership thing set up for 2 weeks. That ought to let you know something, John. These are guys that have been following me since the Crumb side, where, you didn't have memberships, you didn't have sponsorships, you didn't have any of that because hardly anyone was partnered, and the ones who were partnered were making so much money just off of ad revenue that they didn't need any of that other stuff. And so I would say that the majority of the people that watch me are never going to sign up for a membership, not even the 99-cent one. It just is what it is. I've had a Patreon for almost 10 years. None of them signed up for that either. I have the 20 or 30 people who would show up for the 7th cast, out of which maybe 10 of them donate regularly. I mean, here we are. We're an hour and a half into this show, and we haven't had a single donation tonight. Just is what it is. They came up with me at a time where people just didn't donate, I appreciate that, J Chip. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Uh, I'll send you an invite to the Discord, and you will once again be a mod in the Discord. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, J Chip. But tomorrow I will start uploading all of those ancient ass seventh videos, a lot of which, for some of y'all like John who weren't watching me back in the old days, you're not going to get the context of it because you're not going to understand who I'm talking to or what I'm talking to them about. But they'll be there. They'll be there. And only people like J Chip who have subscribed are going to be able to watch any of it. And I'm also intending to start doing vlogs of just, everyday crap, just to give y'all, a day in the life of seventh type boring ass crap. But I'll put that up there for the members too, so y'all can get a little bit of a more taste of who I am outside of this little screen here. But again, thanks, J Chip. I don't have a little membership pop-up thing, so I'll just give you a dollar bill. There you go. Women, am I right? You're not wrong. I loved Wood's Game Quest videos. The Switch stuff just didn't appeal to me. I had subscribed for retro, not that crap. Yeah, I don't care about the Switch either. But at the time that he started doing that, he was like the first channel that had, more than 50,000 subscribers at the time that would make that kind of content. And so that's why his channel blew up. I wish Game Chasers launched so many big YouTube channels. Yes, they have. I wish 8th was here because my video game club's new monthly game is Dark Souls 3, and 8th is the resident Souls expert, if you know what I'm saying. You're not wrong. For real, Billy and Jay really cared about the community. Yes, they do. What are some hidden gems on PS4 and PS5 that you've discovered? Well, that I would have to compile a list. Maybe I can make that as a video. Like, people have been asking me to replace Billy's Top 5 Friday. Well, I could never replace Billy in anything. But, I did do a series called The 7th List, where I was doing lists of 7th, like seven beat 'em ups that you could buy on PS5 and stuff like that. But y'all didn't show up to watch them, man. They all had like 300 and 400 views. So that's why I let that series die, because no one was watching. I'd buy that for $1. Actually, Chip, you bought the 99-cent subscription, so I'll have to go back and look at what you do and don't get access to. I don't know if the 99 centers get on the the Discord or not. I don't remember what I set up now. I'll have to go look. But yeah, Seventh Evangelist, that's the 99-cent. The $2.99 is the one that will get access to all the behind the scenes videos. I remember that much. The 99-cent one is more just to like, I'm a fan of the show type thing, and you get a few perks. Like any of the emojis and little icons that I create and whatnot, which I still have to create custom icons. I haven't done that yet, but so right now you just have the default little stars that YouTube does. I'm basically going to do the stars, but I'm going to turn them into little fart clouds, little different colored fart clouds. This is the first time I'm hearing of a membership. You literally never brought it up until now, but I got it in 2 weeks. Remember, make sure to read in the descriptions of the membership tiers which tier you're signing up for, because there is a basic tier that everyone can afford that's 99 cents, and that gets you a few things, but it's the $2.99 one that gets you everything. I'm not one of these guys that's going to be having like $5 and $10 and $20 tiers. There's two tiers, 99 cents and $2.99, and that's it. What's the Discord? Become a $2.99 member and you'll find out. Hey, 7th, what do you think of this Michael Jackson biopic? I think it looks promising since they've got his nephew playing him. DualSense or the older DualShock controller? I like the DualSense. I think it's a natural progression. No, there is no OnlyFans 7th. No one wants to see this with its clothes off. Do a vlog of Retro Pollute. Well, I do that anyway. But that one I wouldn't make membership only. I might film some stuff and I make it membership only, but just my regular walking around and showing stuff, no, I wouldn't make that membership only. But maybe if I saw some weird shenanigans going on and I happened to film it, maybe I'd make that membership only. Got me in 2 weeks, no problem. I never knew about the memberships. No one can accuse 7th of shilling. You didn't even tell us about it. Well, I figured that anyone that was a regular viewer of my channel would see it there because it's an option when you click the little button with the gray dollar sign on it, and it's it lists it on my main channel screen that you can become a member. So I didn't see a point in advertising it because I figured y'all would just see it, and either you would donate, either you would join, or you wouldn't. My bad. And John Kratz there, John will attest to the fact that, I'm a mod on the Game Chasers fan page, in the official Game Chasers fan page on Facebook, but I have not mentioned to anyone on there at all that I had set up a membership for my YouTube channel. I post my videos in there to give them something new to watch, but I did not advertise my membership to them because I don't want anyone to think that I'm just going to be blunt, and if I hurt somebody's feelings, I'm sorry. I didn't want anyone to think that I'm just another Wood or another Jordan Fringe, and that I was trying to build success for me off of the Game Chasers, and then once my channel had taken off, was going to dump them and go on my own way. I'm here because I was Billy's friend. I'm friends with Jay. I'm not as close with Jay because, like I said, all of this started with Billy, and Billy kind of just dumped me in their laps and said, "This is my friend. Now he's your friend." So, this isn't about trying to boost my channel. I mean, think about it. I've been in the movie. I've been on their show. I've actually been in the background in some of Max88 just became a full member. Loyal 7thites. Thanks, Max. Again, I'll start uploading all that exclusive content tomorrow. Today's just been a rough day. But I've been in other stuff. There's been mini chodes that he did at Retropalooza where I'm like walking around in the background, or I'm sitting in a chair with a group of other people and stuff like that. So, that's never what any of this was about. All of it started with becoming a friend of Billy's over Twitter. That's where it all started. And, here I am. I've been in the movie. I've been on the show. Have I had any kind of huge sub explosion since I started hanging out with them in 2017? No. Nothing at all. I'm still sitting in that. In fact, I had more subs when I moved to Texas than I do now. When I moved to Texas, I had somewhere around 16,500 subs. I'm now down to 14,700. I've lost subs since moving here. I didn't gain them. It was never about trying to boost my own channel. It was just about how much Billy and Jay reminded me of my gaming friends that I grew up with. And that made me realize how much I missed that. because I lost so many friendships due to my ex-wife. I had friends that I lost because they couldn't stand her, and I don't blame them. And now all those friends live over 1,000 miles away from me, and I'm talking to them again, but I can't go hang out with them. So, and let me give a dollar bill to Max88. Thank you so much, Max88. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. But it was never about trying to, piggyback off of their success or anything like that. Because I wasn't a part of the retro community, and to a big extent, I still ain't. I don't do a ton of videos about retro games. I did the whole redneck retro review thing with Sarge a couple of times, but again, none of y'all watched it, so I didn't continue it. And so now Sarge is basically just a bit character in Adventures in Game Chasing, even though in Adventures in Game Chasing, he's not called Sarge, he's called Ray McLowball. But that's who he is. He's Sarge. He's Sarge from Redneck Retro Reviews that none of y'all watched. And that's why there isn't a whole shit ton of videos of Sarge reviewing old NES games, is because none of y'all watched him. Just being honest. I don't waste my time making stuff that nobody's going to watch. People watch for the most part, they watch my game room tours, they watch the 7thCast, and they watch DBTS. And so that's what I'm focusing on, is DBTS, because that's the one thing that people that have come to my channel have always watched. Chris, I'm not opening an OnlyFans, sir. Yes, I got rid of the old Discord. There's now a new Discord, but you have to be a $2.99. You have to be a member to get into it. The only thing is, I can't remember whether the 99-cent one gets you membership to that or not. I'd have to go back and look. When's the next Retro Rage night? I don't know. Will any of us be alive to see GTA 6? That's a good question. You haven't. I thought you ran it from how present you were in it. No, I don't run it. I am friends on Facebook with the guy who does run it. And when all this happened with Billy, he actually reached out to me and asked me if I would post content in it to kind of cheer people up, because everyone was understandably very upset over Billy's passing in there. And so that's why I've been posting my material in there. Not because I'm trying to boost myself, but because the guy who runs it asked me to post my material in there and asked me to be a mod in it. At 7th level, 100% agreed. I get that anxiety. I promised Jay when I returned I'd never make another piece of content just here for the friends. Life's too short. Well, I do content because these are the things that I make videos about are things that I used to talk about with my friends. And my wife destroyed most of my friendships. And so, when I come on here and talk with you guys, this is the most human interaction that I get in the course of a week. Because I interact with people online at work because I have to help fix all these financial system problems and stuff. But I don't really count that because that's work. I'm getting paid to interact with them. And I mean, to some extent, well, not tonight, but I get paid to interact with you guys through donations. But you get 3 hours free a night, regardless. And even though, you guys are coming to be entertained by me, it's actually me being entertained by you, because this is the extent of the human interaction that I have. I have one friend in this town, and he lives 40 minutes away, and that's Brian. I rarely get to see him. I got to see him Halloween night. He came and hung out with me on Halloween night. But of course, I couldn't film that because I would be filming a bunch of little kids I don't know and putting them on my YouTube channel, and that's a big no-no. So I did not, my buddy Brian filmed one little 30-second clip coming up my driveway to show what my haunted garage looked like. And I posted that on Facebook. That's the only thing that was recorded for Halloween. This is it. This. You guys are my social life. I'm not lying. I'm a recluse. I am a shut-in. The only time I go out of this house is to go to the movies or to go to Retropalooza. And besides Brian, all of my other friends live 90 minutes to 2 hours away. And because of that, and because of the fact that I was more Billy's friend than their friend, I am friends with them. I'm friends with Eric. I'm friends with Jay. You know, I'm friends with Chief. I'm friends with all these people, but I'm not part of their inner circle. I was part of Billy's inner circle. And so, you know, they don't have Jay doesn't have constant regular contact with me. Eric doesn't have constant regular contact with me. They both have my phone number. But when they're going to go do something, like they're all going to get together to do this or they're all going to get together to do that, none of them think to contact me because they don't know me that way. Only Billy knew me that way. Billy would invite me to stuff all the time. But I'm not a name that comes up in their heads because I was more Billy's friend that they know on a friendly basis is basically what it was. So most of my friendly interaction is you guys. So when I make videos, these are things that I used to talk with my friends about. You know, what's your favorite beat 'em up on SNES? You know, what'd you think of this movie? That kind of thing. We would sit there and play Magic the Gathering on Saturday nights and talk about the movies that we had watched. I don't have any of that in my life anymore. I work and I sleep. And when I sleep, I dream about work. That's pretty much it. And I progressively get a little bit sicker and a little bit sicker every year. Oh, by the way, possible answer to the heart thing. 2 days ago, I woke up with a really bad fruity taste in the back of my throat. And a slightly irritated throat. And I'm like, what is this? It tastes like 6-month-old juicy fruit. Like I've been chewing the same piece of juicy fruit for 6 months. And so I went and looked it up. And that is apparently a symptom of GERD, a.k.a. Acid reflux. And I was reading it, and one of the side effects of acid reflux is waking up with a sour, fruity taste in the back of your throat, but also escalated heart rate, feeling like your ear is plugged up, hearing your heartbeat in your ear, getting pain shooting up the left side of your face and into your jaw and your ear, and shooting into your shoulder and down into your arm. So some people think that they're having a heart attack, increased blood pressure, and heart murmurs and heart fibrillations. So it's quite possible that all the heart stuff that I've been going to the doctor about that they haven't found a source for is because I've inherited my mother's acid reflux disease. I may actually have a hiatal hernia too. Who knows? But those are things that I'm going to have to discuss with my doctor when I go back in January. And that's the other thing. My doctor wants me to get back. He wants me to get on this Monjuro or whatever, the cheaper version of the drug that the injectable that all the rich people are taking to lose weight. He wants me to get on that. And he actually called me. My doctor called me. And he was like, well, we did some investigation through your insurance, and it turns out, you know, this is a $1,000 a month medication, but we can get it for you for $30 a month through your insurance. And do you want me to go ahead and fill that now? And I'm like, yeah, Ozempic. the El Cheapo version of Ozempic. And I'm like, what? I was like, I told you, I'm saving up for a trip. I don't want to sign up for any new medications right now. I was like, I don't even get paid until the 15th. And he's like, yeah, but we're talking about, you're going to have to pay $87 because it's a 90-day prescription, but that's $3,000 worth of medicine you're getting for 87. I'm like, dude, are you my doctor or are you a telemarketer? I was like, we'll talk about this in January. I don't want to do it right now. And I hung up on him. I'm like, be my doctor. Don't be a telemarketing shill. Don't call my number trying to talk me into signing up for a prescription over the phone. Jesus Christ. Yes, I would love to lose weight. Not because of how I appear to other people, but because I have an image of myself that I currently don't feel right now because I can't wear the clothes that I like to wear because I'm too fat to fit into the clothes that I like to wear. I like to wear old ass jeans with black leather boots and a cycle jacket, and I can't fit in any of that right now. Those of you who watched me back in the day, you know exactly where my comfort zone is when it comes to clothes. And I can't fit in that anymore. All I can fit in now are stupid 4X shirts and sweatpants and stuff because I'm such a fat ass. That's the reason I want to lose weight. Well, that, and if I get all that weight off of me, I'll likely live a little bit longer for 8th. But the main thing is so I can fit in the clothes I like to wear and feel like me again. But I don't know that I want to get on to get on that stuff. I don't know that I want to get on that stuff because, I've heard some things about rare but documented side effects, and it would just be my luck. And the diabetic medicine that I'm already on hasn't really caused me to lose a tremendous amount of weight. I don't know, man. I don't know. Let me catch up with... I'm sorry, I went on a real tangent. Let me catch up with the chat. God. It's way on up here. You're a good dude, 7. Thank you. I appreciate you. What's your favorite gaming generation? 8 and 16-bit. 7th, did you play Dead Space Remake? I have it, but I haven't played it. When you do, no one can accuse you of it being from the coattails of Game Chasers. You know it was from your own hard work. I see you grinding and trying new things. Appreciate it. Dollar by dollar bill, son. Yeah. Mine was the 16-bit era, but I love the other generations too. Would you ever do a series opposite to DBTS that's for underrated games? Well, that was called... I already did that, Chris. It was called the 7th Review, but most of y'all didn't watch those. I later changed it to BTS. Buy this shit. You didn't watch those either. Chainsaw Man movie, definitely best anime, but now we have to wait 2 years for the 2nd season. Yeah, that sucks. Games that not many people have played. Well, for me, it was mostly just anything that I scored 4.5 or better on the 7th scale was the 7th Review or BTS. Anything that scored 4 or lower was DBTS, and that's how it worked. And then I had a series that was all about little downloadable games off of PSN or Xbox Live Arcade that I called the Digital Dump. And spoiler alert, y'all didn't watch any of that either. What games would you do a BTS on? Pretty much all of those. They're making a Red... See, Clean Frame knew about BTS. Look at that. Clean Frame already knew. They're making Red Dead Redemption 2 Definitive Edition with AI enhancement with animals, blah, 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 blah. Well, if it's got the same plot, that's pretty much going to still have the same review from me. The ripple effect of the great yard sale debacle, the infamous yard sale debacle of 2004. Yes. It's chill. Work's flying by since I tuned into the stream. Thank you for that. I was falling asleep before that. Yeah, I know how it is. I know how it is, John. Boogie filmed I know Boogie filmed Halloween because he's got no sense. He has no problem with strangers' children being in his videos because he just doesn't think about that kind of thing. Did you watch Prey? Yes, I watched Prey. Halloween is a weird holiday. We tell our kids not to take candy from strangers except for about 4 hours on October 31st when it's safe. Yeah. Not so safe in Texas. There was actually a guy that back in the 70s that killed his own son and 3 of his son's friends by poisoning their candy to get the insurance money on his son. Maybe ask Eric if he wants to hang out or do something for fun, stretch out that olive branch. I've reached out to Eric. I told him that sometime next year, like in the spring, I want to come down to San Antonio and hang out with him and Chief one weekend because to this day, I've lived in, I grew up in Tennessee, home of Davy Crockett. I've lived in Texas for 8 years, never been to the Alamo. No trick-or-treaters anymore. Halloween is dead, I think. Oh, we had a couple of hundred kids. We have had a couple of hundred kids, and I'm developing a reputation of being one of the best houses in this neighborhood to get candy from because I do a candy buffet. I set up 6 plastic cauldrons full of different types of candy, and I let the kids come up and just take a little bit from each one. So they get a little bit of chocolate, they get a lollipop, they get a little bit of the dipping powder with the little sticks, they get a little bit of sour stuff, maybe some gummy worms or some Nerds, maybe some sweet tarts, maybe some Smarties. They get, a little bit of 6 different kinds of candy and go on their way. So in the neighborhood, not only am I the one that gives away the most candy, I give away the best variety of candy. And plus I entertain because I have a megaphone and I yell at them in this kind of southern redneck version of Skeletor voice and crack jokes all night. And, I have a fog machine and I've got black lights in there and little animatronic things and all this kind of fun stuff. And so, the kids are starting to look for me come Halloween. And next year, I intend to buy a couple of little small spotlights that'll shine above my house so that kids that would normally not think to come down that street because I'm the only one only one of maybe 3 houses that are offering candy on my road, they'll know to come down there. As if the loud rock music coming out of my garage wouldn't be hint enough. I try to get them to come because, like I said, there's only like 3 houses in my neighborhood that give out candy for some stupid reason. Well, not my neighborhood, but my street. And so some of them will be walking down the main strip and they'll look left down my street and not see anything. And so they think there's nothing down there. But I am. So they're starting to learn. Let's see here. Diabetes. Type 2 diabetes, yeah. GERD, yeah. Acid reflux. And I have a feeling that it's probably what it is too, because I went to the store and I bought me some over-the-counter acid reducer pills. And I started taking one a day before I'd go to bed. And I have not woken up with the fruity taste or the burning and, the swollen, stopped up ears where I was hearing my own heartbeat. All of that has stopped. $7.77 from Darkstar. Thank you, Darkstar. I appreciate you. Which non-first person game do you think is the most overrated? Grand Theft Auto. I'm not into it at all, folks. I'm sorry. I know some of y'all love it. I'm not into it at all. Oh, and Darkstar, you may have noticed there's an option to become a member to this channel now. So if you want to become a member, you either have a basic membership that's 99 cents or the pro membership, the 7th membership that's $2.99. So, feel free to take a look at that because currently only 2 people have signed up. Let's see here. Speaking of which, one hour remaining. I always round up Dark Star's donation to an even $8. So we've had $8, a 99-cent membership from J-Chip. So I'm counting that as $1. That makes it $9. And then Max88 got the top membership for $2.99. This is effectively $3. So we've had a total of $12 in donations. So we are $38 away from extending the show by 1 hour, effectively. So yeah, we've got an hour to hit another $38. If y'all want an extra hour of all of this, and who wouldn't want more of this? Anyway, 7th, you don't understand. Don't buy this shit for Avengers is bullcrap because I wish I could still buy that game and Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but they took them off the marketplace. No, Marvel Avengers was garbage. I'm sorry, it was. It was games as a service garbage. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is great. All 3 of them are great. But that's not what Marvel Avengers was. Marvel Avengers was live service bullshit. So I have no I have no qualms about my DBTS for Avengers because everything I said about it was true. I know you can't get Marvel Avengers anymore. That wasn't a new review, Nick. That was a repost of a review from several years ago on my old channel, or my other channel that none of you subscribe to. So no one watched the video, and so I plan on completely shutting that channel down, and so I'm slowly moving all of those videos onto my main channel. Same thing with with my review of Halo Infinite. I didn't review that like last week. That video is 4 years old. MC Chili, don't take it. It's not good news. Well, I knew that there was some side effects, but, I'm sure your type 2 will go into remission if you lose all the weight. Oh, I would agree. Because even so, I'm barely type 2. Like, here's the line, right? And over here is non-diabetic. Or no, over here is non-diabetic, and over here is diabetic. I'm right here. I'm like 1 percentage point over the line. And I have been for 8 years. I haven't gotten worse. I haven't gotten better. I'm still right there on that line. But at the same time, no matter what I do, my weight fluctuates within this 45-pound range, where I'll either be here, or I'll be here, or I'll be somewhere in between, but I never go any lower and I never go any higher. I just stay in this little 30-pound range, and it annoys me because where I need to be is 200 pounds, and instead I'm way more than 200 pounds. And by the way, when that episode of Game Chasers was filmed, episode 68, that was the heaviest I had ever been. I weighed over 400 pounds when that episode was filmed. And if I'd kept going that way, I probably would have died. That's why when you watch that episode, I'm constantly shifting from one foot to the other, because to stand up for that long was causing me so much lower back pain that shifting from one foot to the other was the only way that I could stand to keep standing up. I weighed like 425 pounds when that episode was filmed. I currently weigh 360. So I've lost like 60 something pounds from that point, but I'm still a fat ass. I wish I wasn't. I wish to God I wasn't. But my metabolism got totally screwed up when my company switched me to third shift, and I was on it for 3 years, and it just destroyed my metabolism. Just utterly destroyed it. Anyway, I really need to catch up here. 7th gym training video. I can't afford a gym membership. You do not look 4X from that angle at all, lol. So you definitely got the camera angle down. Thanks. It would be good to see your progress. I haven't had any progress for years. I think if you did more outside vlogs, it'd help you open up and make friends. Thrift store vlogs, food vlogs. I'd watch that. Well, maybe, I might do that for the membership or something. We don't really go out retro hunting because the town that I live in is just kind of dead for that. There's no one that has garage sales or whatnot has any gaming stuff, and there's only one good retro gaming store in town, and it's inside of a dead mall. And all of their prices are based on like price charting or eBay. Dead Space remake streams, come on, that would be dope. Retro streams I'll do. 7th favorite video game adapted movie. The original Mortal Kombat film. Digital Dump had Road Legacy. Yes, it did. But again, nobody watched the Digital Dump series. Time to bring back all the old series since you brought back DBTS and we're in a new era. Well, all of those, DBTS, whatever, clean frame, whatever. One of the reasons I was able to do Digital Dump was because back then I was getting game keys from one of those websites that gives out review codes, and I'm not considered good enough to get review codes anymore. 7th level collabs. I don't know. I currently don't. I very much doubt that if I went to Chief or I went to Eric or I went to Jay and said, "Hey, let's go chasing together," that that would actually happen. I'm a very good neighbor. Yes, I'm best house on the block, best house in the neighborhood, if you ask me. Maybe not the best with front yard decorations, but do you remember the candy cigarette sticks they used to have? Don't know if they still do. Well, when I was a kid, they weren't sticks. They were bubble gum. They were bubble gum shaped like cigarettes, and they came in a box that looked like cigarettes. Hold on a minute. I'm checking with 8th. Man's 20-something years old, but when he goes out of town without me, I still follow up with him to make sure he's okay, because I'm that kind of a dad. Also, I want him, I know we're talking about losing weight, but I want him to bring me something from Taco Bell on the way home. I am late. Yes, you are, Darkstar. You are late for a very important date. Hello, goodbye. I'm late. San Andreas was the only GTA I really liked. San Andreas was okay. GTA is cool, but overrated in my opinion, but to each their own. I've never really been into it. I'm debating getting Ghosts of Yotei, or Yotei, or whatever. 8th liked the gameplay. He didn't care for the story or the characters at all. You got Marvel Avengers for $10, but I haven't opened it. I played it on Game Pass, I think. Marvel Ultimate Alliance is a lot of fun. Sad Activision delisted it. I own all of them physical. I own Ultimate Alliance on 360. I own Ultimate Alliance 2 on PS3 and Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch. Marvel Rivals is a multiplayer game replacing Overwatch. I don't care anything about it. Marvel's Avengers with dogs. It's the reason I on Guardians of the Galaxy is it's a good game. I ought to review it, but at this point it's so old. Who would watch it? What did you eat back then? Uh, seafood diet, you know, I saw it and I ate it. You should be in the 100 to 70, 180 pound range. I'm in the 190 range since I'm on Ozempic. My blood sugars are good now. Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm in the 360-pound range. Wait a minute. Oh, magic powers. 665 pounds, 7th. That's what you've. I never was that high up. What you talking about? Donation for gym membership. I don't even have a gym that's anywhere near me. I literally live out in the middle of nowhere. Better to have gym stuff at home. Well, I had gym stuff at home and I didn't use it. I had an exercise bike and I had a treadmill and I had a weightlifting machine and I didn't use any of it. It was just taking up space in my garage. So I got rid of it all. Do grab and grub, 7th version. I suppose I could. I don't want to do that though. I don't want to just have the same video series that all my friends have. What's the fun in that? Sucker Punch team been deciding between Ghost 3 or Sly Cooper. Don't play with my emotions. I need Sly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Because they've pretty much now ruined Ghost of Yote, just like they've ruined Infamous with Infamous Second Son. Which Infamous Second Son was a good game, but I don't like Delson Rowe as a character. I preferred Cole McGrath. I like to always listen to your house hunting story in your previous streams. I have it on an MP3 player. Remember that wall you could move? Oh yeah, yeah. The hidden room where 8th thought it was a perfect place to hide the bodies, and how their garage had 2 doors in it, 2 doors going from the kitchen to the garage for no reason. That was some weird stuff. They say home exercise equipment's a great place to pile laundry. You're not wrong. But I wouldn't want to buy more exercise equipment to load up our current garage anyway, because 8th is going to be turning that into his workshop. He's going after a degree in mechanical engineering, so he needs a space for doing larger stuff than what he has room to do in his office on his little workbench. So, we're going to be turning the garage into a workshop. Originally, it was going to be yet another game room. We were going to get an air hockey table and a pool table and paint it up to look like a dungeon and all this cool stuff. But now it's just going to become his workshop. And we were also going to get a skee ball table, like a skee ball machine. Kind of wish we were still doing that, but he needs a workshop, so whatever. What do you want for Spider-Man 3? I want them to not kill Peter Parker. Well, technically, it'd be Spider-Man 4. That's fantastic. Oh. Yep. But I will be recording footage tomorrow for Mind's Eye. The next new DBTS will be Lost Soul Aside. I hated it so much that I only got about 2 hours into it. So it will most likely not be one of the longer DBTSs out there. But a DBTS it will be. But I still have 1 or 2 of the old ones left to upload. I've also have some BTSs from that channel that have never been on the main channel that I need to put on here. But we'll get to that eventually. I think I also did some exclusive digital dumps on that channel that I didn't put on here either. We'll see. When you moved to Texas, why didn't you move closer to DFW? Because at the time I wasn't work from home, and my company, their Texas headquarters was in Austin. So I moved close to where I would be working. But now I'm permanent work from home, so I can live anywhere in Texas. And when I realized I was going to have to buy a house, the first place I looked was Burleson, up where like south of Fort Worth, where Billy lived. He lived in a little town south of Fort Worth called Burleson, and I was going to move up there. But all of the houses there were like $30,000 and $40,000 more, which I couldn't really afford. So I moved 90 minutes south of Burleson in a town south of Waco. And so, this whole year, I've been 90 minutes away from Billy. I could have had a 90-minute drive at any time and have been on his front porch to hang out. But I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I can't do steaks at Casa de 7th because 7th doesn't have a grill. 7th hasn't been able to buy a grill yet. Heard more of an update on Tobey Maguire Spider-Man return again, and Aunt May, who is 98 now, will be in it. They have a script. I'll believe it when I see it. I'll believe it when I see it. What I have heard is that the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man would be in Avengers Doomsday, but I haven't heard about him having his own standalone movie, no. And with that, I am caught up with the chat. Amazingly, I am caught up with the chat. So what else do y'all want to talk about? Because we've got 44 minutes left. We are still $38 short of extending by 1 hour. So we have 45 minutes left, at which time I will just go back to watching reruns of Oz. Because for some reason I got a wild hair to watch an old 20-something-year-old prison show. I don't know why, but for some reason I was like, I haven't watched Oz in 20 years. I think I'll watch Oz. You'd think I'd want to watch all new stuff instead of wasting hours of my life rewatching something I already... Story of my life. I still play old games and I still watch old movies. What's wrong with me? In your downtime, do you play more modern games or retro? More modern. I do a little bit of a mix, but admittedly, I don't play as much retro as I do modern stuff. Although, technically, the one I'm spending time on right now is the re-release, the collector's remastered edition of Lunar 1 and 2 on PS4. That's what I've been playing lately. Are you looking forward to Spider-Man Brand New Day? I'm not really looking forward to much of anything movie-wise right now. The Wolverine game does look promising. And one of the things that intrigues me is some of the combat that you see in it looks an awful lot like X-Men Origins Wolverine, and I loved that game. So we'll see. It's a classic. Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! Danger! Danger, Will Robinson! New stuff doesn't always hit the same. Nostalgia doesn't fail. True. What was your favorite root beer? It would be a cross between A&W and Barks. Barks, one thing about Barks, though, you have to get used to Barks because it tastes like it has a little bit too much like cinnamon in it. It's got like a sweeter kick to it than traditional root beer, but I still like it. I'm currently playing Silent Hill 2 Remake. It's pretty good, but it's lengthy. Yeah, 8th already beat it. We have it, of course. Did you like the remake of Demon Souls? I didn't because I don't like Souls-likes, but 8th liked it. After Retropalooza, are you buying new games but with less emphasis on trophy hunting? I don't really do trophy hunting anymore. I don't really buy... if I get the plat, I get the plat. If I have to put a tremendous amount of work into it, I don't bother. Like, for example, I have platted every Borderlands game except for the Vita version of Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 4. I beat Borderlands 4, but I haven't platted it because it just takes a crap ton of work to get there that I don't feel like doing. New TV. That being said, if there was some... friends on here that wanted to play Borderlands 4 co-op with me on PS5 and invited me to do so, I probably would. Have you thought about any cheesy anime gag gifts for Christmas? I don't really do that anymore because Eighth just got to the point where he wouldn't even watch them. He would just stick them on the shelf and they'd sit there. So it's just a waste of money these days. I don't do the gag gift anymore. I like Barks. I like A&W. On occasion, I like Mug. I think that's the one that's got the dog on it. Well, the only time I drink soda is sugar-free soda, not diet soda, but the sugar-free stuff. Like I don't like Diet Coke, but I can drink a Coke Zero every now and then. Well, Blue Point was working on a multiplayer version of God of War, but it got canceled. So now I don't know what they're doing. I do not know. I do not know. I used to be so gung ho about trophy hunting, but I gave it all up on when one trophy glitched in Syndicate, thus locking me out of the plat. I've had that happen a couple of times. There was a Kung Fu Panda game that I to this day I have like 94% on it because one of the trophies glitched out and didn't unlock. So I don't have a tremendous amount of time to play because, on any given week, I usually put in about 60 hours at my job. I mean, there's things I'd love to do. My favorite band of all time, The Descendants. They're my favorite band of all time. They're going to be in San Antonio, or no, they're going to be in Houston and Corpus Christi next year. Or maybe they're going to be in San Antonio. They're doing a tour next year. I'm not going to have the time or the money to go down there. And I mean, they're all getting on up in years. They're all like 60 years old. How many more times are they going to tour? But they're not coming anywhere near me, so I'm not going to be able to go. It's heartbreaking. What restaurants do you eat out at where you live? I don't go out. I don't go out. I will occasionally pick up takeout, but going to sit down restaurants, I just don't do it. I don't do it. Occasionally, there's a steakhouse here, and occasionally I will get a to go order of steak when we want to do something fancy, and I'll order me and Eighth steak dinners, and we'll go pick them up. But we don't sit in a restaurant and eat. I can literally go months without the sun touching my skin. This is what it is. I sit in this dark room 90% of the day. Actually, 100% of the day because I sleep in here too. Because my back is so bad I can't sleep on a bed. I haven't been able to sleep on a bed in years. It's been over 10 years since I've been able to sleep in a bed the way a normal person would sleep in a bed. And so I have to sleep in a recliner. Because if I try to sleep on my side, it's just agonizing. Then when I went to the doctor, they had to lay me back on a table to perform the EKG. And the pain in my back was so excruciating that they might as well have been cutting me open without anesthetic. And then when it was all over, the doctor took me by the hand and pulled me up into a seated position, and it literally felt like he had ripped my back in half. That's how bad my back is. But it's not safe to do any kind of back surgery to correct it because of my weight and everything. So, yeah, I haven't slept in a bed since around 2015 or so, somewhere around in there. Bet you're ecstatic for the new Naughty Dog game. Not at all, no. Just got the Silk Song Platinum. I think you would like that game. Well, I liked the previous one, but I didn't plat it. I beat it, but I didn't plat it. Do you think the God of War TV series will be done right? Probably not. The Descendants, dude, yes, I'm in a similar scene with the Bouncing Souls. Bouncing Souls are good. But yeah, on this arm, I've got Descendants, and then I've got All underneath it, which, of course, All is the Descendants with a different lead singer. Can you put your video game prediction powers at work and predict what the next Xbox will be? I already explained earlier what the next Xbox will be, Clean Frame. Did you not hear? It's just going to be a Xbox branded PC. That's all it is. It's going to be a PC that'll be dressed up with, console window dressing, but that's all it's going to be is a PC. And Microsoft won't even manufacture it. It'll be third party, just like the Xbox handheld that's really just a rogue ally with an Xbox logo on it. That's all it's going to be. You haven't slept in a bed. I already said. How did your back get that bad? Don't know. It just started happening. Around 2010 was when I started experiencing it. It started, the first time I really noticed it was shortly after the divorce was finalized. I took 8th on a vacation, just the two of us, to Disney World. And we were walking around in Animal Kingdom, and there was a section of it where I had to walk uphill over in the Asia section. And suddenly I started having really bad lower back pain, and I had to sit down. And after I sat there for about 10 minutes, I was able to get up and walk around again. And that's when it started. And eventually it got so bad that when I tried to lay on my side like I normally would when sleeping in a bed, it felt like something was trying to rip my spine out. Like someone had reached into my back and wrapped their hand around my spine and was pulling on it like this. That's what it felt like. But I noticed when I was downstairs sitting in my recliner in a reclined position that I was starting to doze off sitting in that chair, and I had no back pain. And so I just got in the habit of sleeping in the recliner instead of sleeping in my bedroom. And so my bedroom now, even now, is just a guest room that has a little college dorm bed, a little single bed, with a 50-inch TV and a PS4 Pro with all of our streaming services hooked to it. So if a friend or family member needs to stay tonight, they have a bed they can sleep in. And that's all that's in there. Eventually, I might turn that into another office if we don't actually have anybody that comes to visit. And I'll move all of this in there. And then all of this will just be more shelf. So, all my computer and all this immediately around me will go in there, and then all of this where I'm currently sitting, this whole corner, will just become more shelving for more stuff. We'll see. I haven't made up my mind on that. You should get a Trey Brotherhood tattoo. No. I only intend to get one more tattoo, and I'm going to get it right here over my heart. And it's just going to say, "How's your ticker?" It's just going to be regular text, no design or anything, just text right here. "How's your ticker?" That's the only tattoo I intend to get. If Sucker Punch did Sly, would it be Sly 5 or Sly remake? It's probably going to be a remake. Because I still question whether Sucker Punch is going to do anything. Maybe a herniated disc or something. I think really all it is that part of my spine is more bowed because of the fact that I have this big ass gut that's pulling on it. I really think that's all it is. And, maybe if I lost all this weight, I wouldn't be having the problem. Don't know. But if you turned it into an office and somebody comes to visit, then they can sleep in one of these two recliners. Dude, the Descendants rock. I love that whole genre era. Have you heard of the Queers? Yes. I've listened to the Queers. A work friend introduced me to them, and they're awesome as hell. The Queers are good. The Mr. T Experience is pretty fun. Screeching Weasel is pretty fun if you like the Ramones. I listen to a lot of the 90s stuff like MXPX and Slick Shoes and Goldfinger and all that kind of thing. One of my favorites, if you haven't listened to them before, Scotty, which they don't make new material anymore because their lead singer uh, died several years ago, and that's No Use for a Name, aka New Fan. They're one of my favorites of that era. But I've been listening to The Descendants since I was in the 6th grade. And at one point, I was a email pen pal with their lead singer Milo Ackerman, and that continued all the way up until around 2015. And or no, it was a little bit later than that. He redid his Facebook, and and I got booted out as a friend, and I haven't been able to get in touch with him to add me back in. So, but I'm still in touch with all the other band members. I'm still Facebook friends with Bill and Stefan and Carl. And I've never met Milo in person. I have met the other three in person because I saw them at Punkorama 2000 in Jacksonville, Florida, back in October of 2000. And so I got to hang out with my musical heroes. I got to talk a long time with Carl. Carl is cool to talk to. He shared his weed with me. Got to talk with Stefan a lot. They were all just really great dudes. And of course, their all singer Chad Price was there, and he was awesome too. I still have pictures of that stored on my computer here somewhere. Favorite Michael Jackson song? It'd probably be a tie between Thriller and Black and White. Probably. I don't have a favorite Nickelback song. Screw Nickelback. What do you think of the Lost Prophets guy getting killed in prison? Couldn't have happened to a more deserving guy. It is 8:30. We have 20 minutes left, 28 minutes left, unless $38 gets donated before 9 p.m. Central Time. Max 88, come back. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh, my neck just did that whole crunch, 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 crunch thing. Oh. That's not a good, that's bad. The lead singer of a band called The Lost Prophets. He ended up being like a PDF file. Okay, so I have no messages there. I'm just checking my messages. Have no messages there. Have no messages there. And what we have here? Nothing. Okay. Do you like Seinfeld? I liked specific episodes of Seinfeld. I didn't like all of Seinfeld. Thoughts on Sonic Mania? I was not a huge fan of it. I felt that the levels were too large and overly complicated. I understand why they did it that way, but I didn't like it compared to the original games. It's been too long for a new Mario game since 2017. I get you. I get you. I get you. Honestly, I'd be happy with a Mario Galaxy 3 instead of a Odyssey 2. That's just me, though. That's just me. For those of you who are curious, this is a guitar company, Lucky Dog Guitars. They're a boutique guitar. Every guitar they make is completely handmade and is a piece of art. They make all their own equipment and their own pickups, their own dials, everything. And it's owned and operated by my childhood friend Anthony, who I grew up with. So he doesn't pay me to wear this hat, but I wear it just to give him a little bit of advertising. Seventh, is there any games I can take eighth in? I don't know. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Games that you could beat eighth at? Is that what you're asking? Do you like Tony Hawk games? Do you think there'll be a new one now they made the remakes? That seems that's what they're doing to try to gauge interest anyway. I mean, they're all right. They're not my favorite. I'm not a tremendous sports game person, but they're all right. Not too bad. Not too bad. I don't adore them, but I don't hate them either. What am I doing for Thanksgiving? Me and Eighth will probably pick up dinner from some local place and bring it home and eat it and then fall asleep. Or, I may end up spending it alone, and Eighth may end up having Thanksgiving with one of his friends. I don't know. I don't know. I will have that week off. You know, I have to work two more, and I'll work through 2 more weeks, and then the week after that, I have off. And then 2 weeks after that is Retropalooza, and then the week after Retropalooza, I'll have another week off. I like arcade sports games, not so. Well, I can get that. I liked Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs. I liked Joe Montana football. I liked that kind of stuff. When sports games started to become too sim like, that's when I stopped caring about them. So I could sit to this day. I could sit and play Super Dodgeball. I could sit and play Baseball Stars 1 and 2, Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs. I could still play those and have fun. But these new sports games, nah. Cares too much about stats and crap, managers and all that garbage. I don't care about any of that. I just want to play the game. I don't know if there's any games you could take him in, Bill, because I don't know what you're good at. I just checked out No Use for a Name. They're good stuff. Thanks for the tip. No problem. Did you ever play Downhill Domination on PS2? I don't think so. What's the greatest wrestling game ever? Honestly, my favorite wrestling game of all time was that WWE All Stars or whatever that came out for the PS3 that had like the super exaggerated finishing moves and stuff. I loved that game. That was my favorite wrestling game. Are you familiar with the immersive sim genre, and do you like those games? Give me examples of games in that genre, and I will tell you, Raymond. Ficklin. 20 minutes left, folks. 20 minutes left and $38 short of an hour extension. $38 short. There's other things that I'd like to do for the channel. I'd like to have a better quality cam. I mean, this is a 4K webcam, but look at how gritty everything is. Look how much grit there is on the screen. I want my streaming image to look closer to, for example, what Rob's camera looks like on the Order 42 channel when he streams. I want that quality, but that's not what I'm getting out of this. What I have up there is a Logitech Brio 4K. Did you play the PS2 SmackDown games? Not really, no. What's your favorite playing cards game, like Rummy, Poker, etc.? Honestly, Rook. I used to love playing Rook. Wrestling Bios covered it in an episode. I love that game. I wish it made money so we could have gotten more of those. I liked it a lot. Don't get me wrong, I liked the WWE arcade games, and I have them on my arcade cabinet back there. But I loved this more. Do you think the movie Predators was an attempt at copying Aliens? No, I don't. I don't feel like it copied Aliens at all. Okay game, but, you know. Or okay movie, but not great. No, Solid Rev never unblocked me. He never unblocked me. Prey, Bioshock, Dishonored. I'm not sure why that would be called an immersive sim. It's not really a sim of anything. It's just a first-person shooter with light RPG elements is really all it is. It's not a simulation at all. So that's kind of a stupid name for the genre, if you ask me. But yes, I like Bioshock. And of course, I played Bioshock's predecessor, System Shock, back in the day. Y'all got to remember, I'm almost 51 years old. Yeah, I was playing these genres when these genres first emerged. Do you like Uno? I've played some Uno in my time. I just watched a review that made that comparison and thought it was interesting. Made what comparison? Predators and Aliens? I don't really see it. I'll have to watch that video because I haven't watched Predators in years, so maybe I'm just not remembering it. I don't know. Who do you consider your closest YouTuber friend right now? I don't know. Kind of sad, isn't it? You should let El Presidor come live with you and film it. Oh my God. I couldn't do that because he'd bring all of his cats with him. I liked Breaking Bad. I did not like The Sopranos. I don't know if Black Bond would come see me or not. Especially because, I live in this little bumblefart town. He'd want to be where all the action is. He'd want to be like in San Antonio or Austin, where all the nightclubs and the bars and all that is. And I don't live near any of that. None. Hello, 7th. I'm behind. The only videos I watch from your old channel is the Black Baron funeral service and the Vita review. Those were the only two that were available before you deleted everything. Well, they'll all be coming back, the ones that still exist anyway. But you'll have to be a loyal 7thite member for $2.99 a month to get access to them, because that's where they're going. I don't want them public, because that those would cause me to get probably content struck left and right. So I'm keeping those membership only stuff. He'd yell about the Cleveland Browns to me. What about Pluribus, made from the same guy that made Break? I haven't seen heard anything about that. Rest in peace, Billy. Yeah, rest in peace, Billy. Indeed. I mean, of people that I knew on YouTube, he was really the only one that I talked to that extensively and on that level, and certainly the only one that's been to my house several times. So right now, I don't really have another. I don't really have another YouTube friend like that because I don't know Eric at that level. I don't know Jay at that level. I only knew Billy that closely. I'm not saying they're not my friends. They are, but I don't know them the way that I knew Billy and Billy knew me. Was Next Gen 720 capping when he said Black Bond lived in a group home? Not that I know of. I mean, he used to live in his grandma's attic, but now he lives in an apartment. Which was the best Borderlands, 2 or 3? 2. Is the Switch 2 a DBTS? I don't know. I haven't bought one. I don't have a Switch 2. I'm not going to do a review of the Switch 2 until I can buy one. Normally, I buy a console the day it comes out, but the Switch 2 just didn't have anything that interested me enough to purchase one. I had other things on my mind. You should get in contact with Chris. He seems to be going through it, and you can help each other out. I talk with Chris on the regular, but the last couple of times I've reached out to him, he hasn't replied. So I think he just got kind of tired of me reaching out and saying, "Hey, bud, you all right? How you doing? How you holding up?" I think he got tired of that because it was just reminding him of everything that was going on. And so I'm giving him his space. I don't want to be an annoyance, you know. Do you get money from YouTube Red viewers? I'm supposed to, but not that I know of. I don't think there's any YouTube Red people that watch me. Switch 1 or 2 don't seem like DBTS territory. I never did an official review of the Switch 1. I just didn't bother. I'm not a fan of it. 8th plays the original Switch more than me. It's like I don't chase after trophies anymore, but nowadays I can't really bring myself, unless it's retro stuff, to play games that don't have some kind of achievements or trophies that add up to an overall score, because I'm still, I still like earning them. I just don't chase after, trying to get 100% of them anymore. And they've never implemented that. So thank you, QB, for becoming a member. That stuff isn't available yet. I'm having to upload it. I'm going to start uploading those old classic videos onto the channel starting tomorrow. And I'll have to remember to send you and Max88 and J-Chip Show Discord memberships. So, go to Twitter and send me what your Discord user ID is, and I'll add you to the Discord. Same thing, Max88, if you're still here and listening, reach out to me on Twitter and send me your Discord user ID, and I'll send you a Discord invite. So we'll add that as $2.99 or $3. So to what's been donated so far tonight. So we're at $15. We're now $35 short of extending by an hour, and we've got 10 minutes to get there. So I don't think it's happening tonight, folks. I don't think it's happening tonight, but I do appreciate the folks that have signed up and become members tonight. I'm also going to do custom little logos, like you see how QB right now you've got a little blue star. Eventually I'm going to be replacing those with little clouds of fart gas that are different colors. I just have to learn how to do that. I haven't learned how to make custom little icons to upload yet. You're glad they never added trophies. It becomes an OCD thing, like for me, and takes away enjoyment of just playing the game. I haven't had that problem. But now that I've gotten used to earning them, I expect them. Switch 2 is worth it. I mean, the Wii U sort of had them. It had a system called accomplishments, but it wasn't a linked system. It's like every game had its own separate accomplishment page instead of you having an overall score. That's what I didn't like about it. Plus, it was buried several layers deep into the menu. Most people that had a Wii U didn't even know they existed. Show me your sub, son. Yeah, that's right, QB. I by far like PlayStation the most. Always felt that way. Xbox had achievements first and PlayStation took it to the next level. You're not wrong. Although technically I think Steam had them before Xbox did. I could be wrong, but I think Steam had them first. And then Xbox had them, and then PlayStation had them. Nobody wants to keep watching me for another hour tonight, huh? All right. That's okay. That's okay. Trophies and achievements are great for keeping a history of games completed. I never go 100%. Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's proof that you actually beat a game. You can at least use that. So if someone says, "Oh, you never beat that game. You never beat Elden Ring," or whatever, you can show them your trophies and like, "Well, I didn't 100% it, but I did beat it." I'm not doing a 24-hour stream. The longest stream I've ever done was 8.5 hours, and it made me physically sick. The most I can safely do without getting sick is 6 hours. And 6 hours doesn't happen unless I get $150 of donations in one night. That's why it doesn't happen that often. It's a shame that you're not on a podcast, 7th. I think you'd thrive in that setting. Well, you know, I'm right here if somebody wants to invite me to be on one. All they have to do is ask and pay me. I mean, you know, I could multi-stream the 7thCast onto multiple platforms. I could turn it into like a podcast that you could listen to on Amazon Podcasts and all that other happy crappy, but I'm fine just putting it on YouTube and just being by myself and not having a co-host and all that. That way I don't have to worry about everybody getting a fair share of mic time, and I can just talk about whatever the hell I want. Xbox started the paid online stuff. Now they want to get rid of it with the next Xbox branded PC. Well, of course they'd have to, because nobody has to pay to play games online with Steam. And Steam is their, you know, they claim that they're in competition with TikTok, but who they're really in competition with is Steam. And Steam, you don't have to pay a membership to be able to play online with other people. 8th live streaming board game sessions would be sweet. I don't think that's going to happen because I don't think his friends would want to be on camera. So, I mean, maybe if they rigged a camera hanging over the table where you couldn't see them, you could only hear them and just see the game board, maybe you could do that. But, of course, that would also cost money to set that up that we currently don't have. We've still got some bills to pay from the move before we're going to be in really good shape. Right now, we're just in so-so shape. But it's gonna, you know, I've got more bills to pay off before we're in good shape. I'm not a fan of the Switch 2. I just want a modern-day Super Nintendo with up-to-date hardware and features like a PS5 with actual first-party exclusives. I feel you. I mean, I haven't been disappointed in my PS5 because I always end up buying more third-party multiplats than exclusives every generation anyway, so I'm quite used to that. But there have been way less first-party exclusives this gen than there was the PS4 generation. And I mean, with the PS3, Once we hit 2009, it felt like every month there was something new coming out. I just hope that makes Sony and Nintendo get rid of their paid online. That's the only good I see with Microsoft wanting to get rid of the paid on. Well, you never know. I kind of doubt it, but you never know. 5 minutes left, folks. 5 minutes left, $35 short. It ain't going to happen tonight. A lot of people want PS5 to last to 2030 before next gen. I think PS3 lasted as long as any generation should ever last. So I'm not one of those people. Are you the type of person that commonly takes money from lines of credit? I have credit cards, but that's about it. 360 PS3 era had people buying games every month like they were music mixtapes. Yeah. I have so many games in my backlog I could go 10 years without buying a new game. Same here. Are you doing a stream this week? A gaming stream? We might try it again on Wednesday. I'd like to see tomorrow I can't do it because I'm going to be, uploading all those old classic videos for for people that just signed up for the 7th memberships. Where do you think the next God of War game will take place? Egypt. The only thing saving this generation is GTA 6. It'll squeeze some more years out of it. We'll see. Didn't stop the PS5 from coming out. I mean, GTA 5 came out on the PS3, then the PS4, then the PS5. I mean, come on. We'll see. 4-minute warning. 4-minute warning, $35 short. If 3 of you donated $10 and 1 of you donated $5, we could go for another hour. Don't worry about it. If y'all don't want to watch me for another hour, I can live with it. I'll just go watch more Oz. I know credit card interest is bad. Well, it ain't that bad for me because, I get better interest rates than I'm sure some of you younger folk would. But, still not good. But, sometimes that's what you got to do when you need some money. And then I just pay them off. But, I haven't paid off all the ones from, I got caught unawares. I didn't have a bunch of money saved up for a down payment and moving expenses and stuff when I found out that I had to buy a house and move. So I had to use what I could, which was credit cards, to catch up the difference. What time do you usually sleep? When I can't stay awake anymore and I fall asleep? That usually happens around 2 in the morning. Give or take. 3-minute warning. And technically speaking, I'm counting all the memberships that people have signed up for in that total. In all actuality, we've had one donation of $7.77, but I'm going ahead and including the first month's membership into that, which puts it up to 15, which means $35 short. But in reality, we've only had one donation all night long, and that's because Darkstar donates $7.77 every week. Without fail. What time do I clock in for work? Well, I'm off tomorrow, but normally I clock in at, my official start time is 8 a.m., but I clock in at 7:30 because I'm OCD and I prefer to always start early. That way I'm never late. 2-minute warning. Tomorrow's not a work night. Tomorrow's Sunday. I'm off on Sundays. I'm off on Sundays. I'm off Saturdays and I'm off Sundays. You know? One-minute warning. 1-minute warning. It ain't gonna happen tonight. Oh well. By the way, if you got hit with a what situation where you were let go shortly after moving to Texas, would you move back to North Carolina? I don't know what you mean by what. I don't even know what word that is. But no, I wouldn't have had the money to move back to North Carolina. I would have been stuck here if that happened. Instead of doing hourly extensions, you should do them incrementally, 2 minutes each extra for $1. No, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. See you 7th. Have a good rest of your night. Yep, it's 9 o'clock. We did not get the additional required $35, so this is where I'm going to have to say goodnight. Be thinking about all the things that you want to ask me about. For the record, I asked people to recommend games that would make for good episodes of Don't Buy This Shit, and nobody recommended nothing. So I guess I'm on my own with that one. But regardless, be thinking about what you want to ask me next week, and I will see you all then. Same 7th time, same 7th channel.